Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet for fly. You get to fly with me. You get to fly with me. You get to fly with me.
Looking back at the life I thought I knew so well. Overthought it all since I was 12 years old. Scared to swing for the fence, so regret would follow. What a hard pill to swallow. I take back everything I said when the world was not my friend. Getting high in my room every weekend. I take back everything I said when the world was not my friend. When the world was not my friend. I've waited for so long. Memories fade, turning into stone. Hard to break the mold, embedded in my bones. Swinging for the fence, so regret won't follow. Cause that's a tough pill to swallow. I take back everything I said when the world was not my friend. I quit, I've had enough of that. I take back everything I said when the world was not my friend. I quit, I've had enough of that. I've waited for so long. Death, I found a means to the end, so I justify what life signifies. death, I found a means to the end.
They'll never bring me down. They'll never bring me down.
I've waited for so long. I've waited for so long to feel like I belong. A place that I call home, where I don't sleep alone. I've waited for so long to feel like I belong. A place that I call home, where I don't sleep alone. I'm searching for a place that I call home, where I don't sleep alone.
Oh, it's Saturday night or Sunday started, 'cause the morning light comes and you're broken hearted. We were close to something, ended up with nothing. All I hear is echoes of the words we said, all the battles they play over in my head. We were close to heaven, now it's gone to hell. And so I roll the windows down and I just fade you out. And it rolls like thunder and it hits like lightning. When you're going under, it lifts you up again. Right now that kick drum feels like a heartbeat, and I'm falling for that long lost melody. I put the radio on, saving myself with a song. I put the radio on. If I keep driving, keep moving forward, 'cause there's nothing worth me turning this around. I've been hiding these miles between us, so I'll keep the volume up to drown you out. Forget you were around. And it rolls like thunder and it hits like lightning. When you're going under, it lifts you up again. Right now that kick drum feels like a heartbeat, and I'm falling for that long lost melody. I put the radio on, saving myself with a song. I put the radio on. I really need a love song to rescue me. I really need a love song that I believe. And it rolls like thunder and it hits like lightning. When you're going under, it lifts you up again. Right now that kick drum feels like a heartbeat. I'll stop falling for that long lost melody, and I'll find out who it is I'm supposed to be. I put the radio on, saving myself with a song. I found the strength to move on. There in the moment I'm strong. I put the radio on.
Bada bang, bada bang, we're in trouble again. Bada bang, bada bang. I can tell by your grin, you're up to the worst trouble again. Wanna smash everything into bits till everybody feels as fucked up as you're feeling. Don't look at me like I'm to blame, like I'm the only one to blame. Who would ever want this anyway? And only 'cause of you, only 'cause of you, only 'cause you say, only 'cause you do. For that I'll make you suffer, and for that you'll make me hurt. Oh, what a beautiful life, oh, what a beautiful time. And each time we say the next time we're gonna be alright. Oh, what a beautiful life, oh, what a beautiful time. And each time we say the next time we're gonna be alright. Oh, what a beautiful life. Do you feel lost again today? Go get high in our bedroom or roam the streets with a black sun burning inside. I don't care at all. Oh, what a world, what a life. You give me a slap and I give you a kick. That's the way we handle it. And only 'cause of you, only 'cause of you, only 'cause you say, only 'cause you do. For that I'll make you suffer, and for that you'll make me hurt. Oh, what a beautiful life, oh, what a beautiful time. And each time we say the next time we're gonna be alright. Oh, what a beautiful life, oh, what a beautiful time. And each time we say the next time we're gonna be alright. Oh, what a beautiful life.
Game activated.
There's a place at the end of the
road. 2018 GSL Season 2 Overgrowth. Overgrowth.
Oh, we're finally back. We had 10 days off. It was a lot of StarCrafting without casting for us. It was good to have that break. We miss you guys. We're back. This is day one of the round of 16 here in the GSL Code S.
The best round of 16 we've ever had, following the best round of 32 that we've ever had. I guess that makes sense, but it's a good time to be a StarCraft fan right now. The group today, you look at it and you're like, well, that has to be the group of death. No, it's probably the third or the fourth best group out of the four groups.
Right.
Which is crazy, because I look at this group and I'm like, oh, this is all I wanted for Christmas right here, is this group.
It's a good time to have Christmas here now.
Oh, my God.
It's like
Christmas
normally,
in May.
You know what little kids, they'll do, like, if they were born on Christmas, they'll do the birthday halfway away. That's what we're having.
Oh, my
right
God.
Here, right
yeah, this
now.
is our mid-year
It's
Christmas.
close enough to halfway.
This is our half birthday, you know?
All right,
This is my half birthday tasteless.
I mean, all these, you're totally right, though. All these guys are so good, but to be honest, this is not the hardest group, although the game should be awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing who is going to survive. Before we talk about this group, let's look at our other groups. Group B, Sue, Deer, Innovation, Rogue. That, I think, is probably the group of death. Then Dark Classic, Trap, TY. And finally, Stats, Beyond, SOS, and Gumiho.
These groups are just out of control. They're out of control. Tasteless, call the police. What are we supposed to do with these groups here? What am I supposed to do?
They're surrounding the building right now.
What am I supposed to tell my children, Tasteless?
They've called the Army. They said they can't come in just yet. It's too much. It's out of their jurisdiction.
What a crazy world we live in. And here we are, day 1 of the round of 16.
Yeah.
You watch. This is like so good. I bet you we could construct like a crappy round of 8 somehow here. It's like all ZBZs or something.
Yeah, just somehow the perfect storm of
yeah, it's like
players
all
advance.
mirrors. I'm like, what? How did that happen? I guess eventually you had to have something go sour in this GSL. But anyways, this is sick. Maru, the defending champion, playing today. Oh my God. We have new maps and stuff. We'll get into that momentarily. Just a great time, Tasteless.
We have 2 new maps. Our first map is Lost and Found. Artosis, what do you think? Maybe you should just read the description.
Lost and Found, which has various sizes of entrances and attack paths. That's a weird sentence. Choosing the right path has a fatal impact on victory and defeat. It is advantageous to fight at high grounds, but sometimes you may need to use low grounds for quick attacks. In the late game, you can shorten your attack path by destroying the rock in the middle of the map and then press your opponent.
Well, actually, I think despite the extra Y there, that's probably the last sentence probably might be the most right one. I guess generally it's always better to, take a high ground if you can for vision's sake.
Yes, indeed.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Description aside, as far as how the games on this map are going to turn out, I think it is kind of cool. We're having some, I don't know, just the way the terrain is set up on this.
Yeah.
I would like to speculate a lot on this map, but I always feel like it's just better to throw the players in there. We just see where they start to take the meta.
Yeah, it's been introduced in the new map pool on the ladder. And it's going to be at Austin coming up next week. So that's
right.
really cool as well, and we have it rotated in here. Just to put this out there, the maps that are being removed in the round of 16 are Black, Pink, and Neon Violet Square. So that's kind of cool. Those maps definitely we've had are unbelievably long games on, and of course the new patch is out as well. So to see all that go away is kind of neat. Our other new map that we're using, these are the only 2 new maps we're using here.
Yeah.
It's Dreamcatcher. Would you like me to tell you about Dreamcatcher, Tasteless?
If you want,
go ahead. Listen to this. This is what I think about Dreamcatcher.
Off the top of your head, if you can.
Yeah, okay, I will. No problem. Dreamcatcher with symmetry on the right and left. You are close to your opponent's main base, but it's possible to defend by utilizing collapsible rocks in the early to mid-game. After the mid-game, you can choose an expansion area between gold minerals and regular minerals, and
children's book voice. Go on.
Depending on the choices, it is expected to see variety in the late game.
Okay, read it to me one more time before I go to bed, because that story was too short, Dad.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic on this map. Again, we just got to see what happens when these players actually do jump in here. We've rotated Black, Pink, and
Neon Violet.
And Neon Violet, thank you. Out. Those games, they were making for some longer games, a little bit more stagnation. We're always trying to keep it fresh here at the GSL and see if we can change the tempo of different matchups and, really throwing the players a lot of new tools and seeing what they can kind of come up with.
The real question, though, Tasteless, is when you were in school, did you ever build a Dreamcatcher and then bring it home?
That was devil worship in my house, Artosis.
Oh, that's so funny. No, we in my school, I think we went on a field trip or something, maybe to a museum or something like that. And then we built Dreamcatchers. I built something that looked just like that. My mom hung it on the wall.
And that's cultural appropriation now. I believe originally the Dreamcatcher, you put that over your bed, and it was supposed to catch bad dreams before they entered your mind. I believe so.
I believe so.
And they work.
No, they don't. Okay.
9 out of 10 doctors
knowing someone who
prescribe
who made a Dreamcatcher and still had bad dreams, let me tell you, Tasteless, if it had worked, I would have put them everywhere.
Yeah.
I'd still carry them with me.
Okay, everybody, listen. You can get a season 2 uniform purchased now. If you're one of the 5 people to reserve it right now, before instead of typing PogChamp in the chat or whatever you guys are doing, Craigasm, you need to get on there right now and reserve this, because if someone gets ahead of you, if you're one of the first 5 people, you get an autograph
Of anyone in the round 16 that you want. But you have
yes.
to, I think you have to like leave a note or something like that.
And
So-
definitely get on that.
I don't think it's the uniform that gets autographed, but rather just something signed that you get with it. Like I don't know.
Not my department. All I'm saying
Anyways.
is they got to get on that.
Yeah. And
if
it
they're
looks
watching,
like-
if you're watching, there may be a cap on how many of these we're giving out.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not sure.
I feel like there's a possibility that they may underestimate how many people are going to want this. We will see. So you have a limited amount of time to do this.
And
Get open on your second tab. Put on your second monitor. If you got only one monitor, okay, then tab out. You can still hear us. You're going to know when the game starts.
And look, as we just saw in that picture of the jacket that went off the screen, even if you're part orangutan like Tasteless, this jacket's going to fit you just fine, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Tasteless, who can touch his toes without bending over.
No, it's good.
All right, here is our
Speaking
group.
of orangutans, I saw this video online earlier today of baboons that got a pet dog.
Really?
Baboons are training some dogs
Really?
to follow them around, to alert them to predators.
That's amazing. What
Or
type of
just to make
dog
things
did you
fun.
know? Did you notice
I don't
what
know.
type?
I don't know. But that's pretty cool.
I need that video actually
Yeah.
in my life. That's amazing.
자, 어떤 조를 만들고 싶으세요?
테란이 없는 조.
테란이 없는 조. 조지현 선수가 가장 유력하네요.
그렇죠, 아무래도.
이번 조지명 씨가 지금 테마는 누가 조지현을 잡느냐가 지금 돼버렸어요.
너무 슬프네요. 제가 32강에서 너무 못해가지고 자신감이 좀 없어서 들어가고 싶다고 하기 전에 이미 뽑고 싶다고 하더라고요. 밥을 같이 먹으러 일산을 가기로 했는데 가면 안 뽑아주는지 한번 궁금하네요.
그게 2년 전 얘기인데 아직까지 안 왔거든요. 긴장을 많이 하는 스타일이라서 지현이 형이 하면 편할 것 같아요.
조지현 잘했는데 절대 못 가요. 예, 역시.
그 일주일 전부터 배틀넷에서 계속 뽑는다고 그래서 당연하다고 생각해서 뭐 무덤덤하네요. 열심히 해서 이겨봐야죠 뭐.
조지현 선수의 지명권이거든요. 조지현 선수 마이크 한번 잡아주시고요.
일단은 민수를 계속 뽑으라고 그러더라고요.
권력 앞에 무릎을 꿇을 거예요?
이미 꿇었네.
일단 끌어야 될 것 같아요. 민수를 일단 뽑으면 한 명은 제가 원하는
그 허락을 해준대요? 민수
사람으로
뽑으면?
해줄 거예요.
대기실에서부터 제가 계속 그림을 그렸는데 그냥 그대로 됐고요. 뽑히면 또 먼저 뽑을 수 있잖아요.
예.
그럼 다 같이 3명에서 의논해서 뽑고 싶은 선수를 뽑고 또 성주의 지명권을 또 살려주고 만약에 팀킬이 나오게 되면 진해호 선수들이
그러면
그냥-
가자마자 조성주 선수에게 꿇을 거예요?
당연하죠. 성주 형이죠 바로.
저 그 신영이 형한테 한번 물어보고 싶은데
이신영 어떤 거?
만약에 뽑게 된다면 누굴 뽑으실지. 그러니까 테란 있으니까 테란이랑 또 하면 연습하기 편하니까.
그러면 이거 조성 선수의 의견과 반하는 의견이죠. 자신만 나만의 나를 위한 맞나요?
그렇죠.
와! 자, 이신영 딜 들어왔습니다.
지현이가 뽑으라는 사람 뽑아야죠.
와!
어떡하죠?
반란 일으킬 수 있어요.
반란이냐?
반란이에요. 지금 난리가 났습니다.
충신이 되느냐?
자기는 내 맘대로 할 거야. 내가 최고야.
조지현 선수가 얘기하고 있을 때 강민수가 큰 그림 완성됐다고 했는데
정말 이신영?
강민수 안 뽑을 가능성 되게 높거든요.
아니다. 바뀌었다.
강민수는 아니다. 오늘 조지현이랑 박수.
마지막에 설교 성공. 세상을 좀 다 잃었어요.
아니 딱 제가 여기 오면 그냥 완벽해졌거든요. 근데 자꾸 이상하게 하려고 하더라고요. 그냥 제 생각에는.
남은 선수가 4명이에요.
근데 성주가 병렬이 형 생각 한번 들어보고 싶다 해서 병렬이 형 일단
도대체 무슨 생각을 하?
병렬이 형이 비조에서 안 뽑히면 팀킬이잖아요. 그래서 그냥 민수 형 옆에 와서 형이 가고 싶은데 갈지.
비행기 태워 보내준대요.
어차피 병렬이 마지막에 돼도 그때 바꿔도 늦지 않는데
마지막
A조에서 지금
저는 이미 만족하거든요. 여기.
지금도 만족한다.
이 둘이면 난 올라갔다. 이 둘이면 끝났다. A조리 둘만 있으면 대장님 끝. 이미 나는 1등 8강이야. 확정된 거 아니에요?
저는 너무 행복한데. 그래서 병렬이 형 생각을 듣고 싶었던 건데.
그냥 나중에 뽑혀서 가도 될 것 같아요.
지금 여기서 뭐 모든 그 경우의 수에는 주성욱이라는 이름이 없어요.
저 A조예요.
A조요?
아, 근데 뽑을 사람이 저밖에 없는 것 같아가지고.
와 그래요. 자 조성규 선수
관심이 없네요.
이야기 좀 들어주세요.
강민 선수
제발 제 이야기 좀 들어주세요.
강민 선수 너무 충성스러워하는데요?
제발 봐주세요. 제발 좀 저희 이야기 좀 들어주세요. 마음의 결정 끝났어요?
네, 끝났어요.
자 그럼 들어가서 좀 데리고 와주십시오.
뼈 선수 뽑는 게 제일 쉬워요.
이신영?
사실
주성욱. 오. 외톨이 같아요 지금요. 1대 3인 것 같아요.
대화에 끼질 못해요.
아 이거 물 마시지요? 목이 말라옵니다. 아 주성욱 선수 혼자 마시고요. 혼자 쳐다보고요.
강민수는
혼자
And that is how Group A was made.
All right. You know, it's kind of fun to sit there and watch Maru, who's got that kind of veto power, right, to switch someone at the end and see what his plans are and the way that he talks about it. But all I can think is how much better it would be if Locero was the defending champion and got to do that. It doesn't matter. Everyone's the same, basically. He's just like Locero, you can't win this group you made. What are you doing?
And here we are in the round of 16 for that very reason. It's because that can't happen here. So, it's going to be a good night tonight. Again, it's good to be back. I know we had a long break. I'm sure there's some people that might have, we're so regularly on at the same time every 2 weeks. If you guys have any friends that have not yet joined in, let them know. Remind them we're back here in the round of 16. Indeed. After that short little hiatus. And we are close to just jumping into this game. So again, the round of 16 works the same way as the round of 32. Only 2 players managed to advance.
Maru, of course, the defending champion, one of the favorites of this group, no doubt. He got a group that he liked quite a bit there at the end, not switching anyone in or out of his group. No Terran players in it, so he's quite happy about that. Of course, his round of 32, he did well, but to be honest, the Zanster series was pretty close, so he's not unbeatable at the moment, and Patience definitely seems like the weakest player in this round, but you can't underestimate Patience. It's hard to put a finger on why this guy is good, but he is very good. This guy has multiple top 4s in SSL. He doesn't always really produce, but when he plays a good game, damn, it's a good game.
Yeah, it seems like he's a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes his macro is really on point. Sometimes his control can be a little bit clumsy. He has success, but it reminds me a little bit of Rogue 2 years ago, actually, where Rogue looked really good sometimes, and then he sort of like didn't look that spectacular, and maybe we're still seeing him in his growth spurts before becoming in his final form. So we are going to have one of our new maps. It's going to be Dreamcatcher in set 2, but to start things off in game 1, we will go to Acid Plant.
Okay, I'm ready, Tasteless.
I'm ready too.
Ready for some StarCraft 2 action once again here.
It's been too long. This is Maru versus Patience, game 1 in our first best of 3 in the round of 16 in the GSL.
Jin Air Green Wings, Maru.
A strong contender for the title right now. It's been looking just unbeatable so far this year.
Dead Pixels, Patience.
Of course, being the #1 seed, you would expect for us to say in this first match, the quote-unquote easiest opponent that you could have here, but you know, I don't think it's cut and dry, and especially when I see 2 gases before Nexus.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be cut and dry.
That's definitely telegraphing that there's going to be action pretty quickly here from Patience, although Maru has not scouted that yet. So I will say this. I don't think this season's going to be too easy. Hey, we love you guys too. Thanks so much for coming down from Australia. Guys, it's a long flight, so thanks for coming all the way up here.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, just what I was remarking on before.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be an easy GSL season for Maru.
No.
As good as he's looked, and as much as we've seen him steadily improve. Oh, Oh, excellent. From Switzerland. Well, you guys brought cheese. Well, so did Patience this time.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit. But you're quite right. This is not an easy season. I guess no season is, but this is the most stacked round of 16 we've ever had. Literally, I was going over this on the Pylon show with No Regret and E-Mini, and it's like it's pretty clear that the only real upset was Patience getting through over Scarlet and Hero not qualifying at all for GSL, right? Other than that, this is like these are 15 of the top 16 Korean players.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good and strong that this round is. And I mean, you look at every group. We were talking about this earlier. It's the craziest groups. We have no idea how this is going to go down. Maru might just straight up be eliminated tonight. Any of these could go any which way.
We have a lot of very good players that get fleshed out sometimes in some kind of odd games in the round of 32. This time, not so much. I think it's to what you were saying, except for maybe Scarlet not advancing here.
Yeah.
But, like I've said before, I think Patience is still in the process of improving in every season we see. And sometimes that shows, sometimes it doesn't. But I am curious to see how this game is going to go over here. We did see him hide Stargate in the very north, and he's making an Oracle. Now, that's hidden tech. So it's going to be almost not spottable here for Maru because you normally don't hide it that far away. It's in some ways counterintuitive, but someone like Maru who's so calculated may just discount that. Now, it's going to be important to watch that Widow Mine there because there's only going to be so many Widow Mines out for Terran when this first Oracle comes around. So spotting that is definitely a factor.
And just having that Stalker there, this is all mapped out by Patience. You can be certain of that, right? The Oracle's already on the way. Maru absolutely does not know that it's on the way as well.
Oh. Ooh, that was a misclick. He actually shot his own pylon there. And that means the Reaper will come in here. And even though that won't spot the Stargate right away, the lack of structures that he's using there is sometimes enough to tip him off. Now, the Oracle comes in. We have 2 SCVs that have been picked off now. And, oh, my God.
Well, as long as he gets out. I mean, 3 SCVs isn't too bad.
Sure. But I would say I think you want that to be occasionally a little bit more HP if he can come back in and attack again, because if it gets too low.
But look at this, right? The Banshee's coming out. He's getting an additional Oracle at home. He's throwing down a shield battery, presumably in the mineral line. And as long as he defends against this Banshee, well, look at this. This tag coming out, the 2 Stalkers pushing forward. There's not that many ground units out. The Stalkers can definitely out-micro things pretty well.
Yeah. These Marines are not going to be able to quite get in there for a little bit. Now, there are other units coming into play, like a tank that's about to pop out, which can be handy. But if you're good enough with these Stalkers, you can actually bleed out a lot of damage onto these Marines. Now, Siege mode coming up. Patience is going to have to get out. And still no Stalkers lost. A lot of bruised units, though, for the Protoss here.
And with that Banshee flying up, will Patience be ready for that? We haven't gotten a shot of his natural or his main base. We saw 1 shield battery building, so that's definitely very good defense against a single Banshee. But where are his Oracles? Are they still up front? Have they gone home? There is a single Phoenix as well.
Yeah, the Phoenix, unfortunately, doesn't kill the Banshee that fast. Okay, so here we go. Stalkers paired with the Phoenix are definitely going to be a lot handier.
Interesting. He's a little bit slow to actually tag there.
Uh-oh.
Which, obviously you want to kill the Banshee. So a little mistake there, but right now he's got 3 Oracles. So that's pretty awesome.
This is actually a pretty specific attack that I think is a response to the 3rd base being taken. Look at this. All 3 Stalkers are going to go down. Now, there's a small push coming up here. Now, even though he's tagged the Banshees are just going to combo into the push.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe he could get a good angle by tagging them and try to clip it off with the 1 Phoenix, but let's see how much damage this actually does. Now, there's no medevacs with this army, so there's no easy way to get out, but this may just be enough. Okay, hold on. This trap right over here is huge.
Wow, that trap was insane. Now you're flying with 4 Oracles, and this army's gone. It is simply gone.
I was talking about it a second ago that, there's no way for this army to escape without the medevacs. I suppose there's actually a chance it could run back if everything chases this Banshee over here, but in theory, it can not easily get away. So he's going to go ahead and take out this 1 Banshee. Now, there were 6 probes killed. This army's retreating to the south. It doesn't look like those Stalkers are quite able to target down what they could have done there. But, you know, I got to say, that was a bit of a victory there for Patience. The fact that he's driving Maru back.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to also take out this tank now with these Stalkers in pursuit. And these Oracles can actually mow down these Marines.
Yeah,
Maru's actually in very bad shape.
He really is. These Oracles doing a good job right now. Even with 3 left over, he can still attack.
Oh, you know what's funny? He can actually probably just keep going with this. Oh, I'm sorry. One of those Oracles doesn't have energy.
Yeah.
I thought he had just enough to try to get all those Marines and then pick up another tank.
If that Oracle had more energy, he actually might have been able to almost kill Maru at that point. The Banshee's still getting a little bit of work done. Looks like not a lot of detection here at home, really utilizing those Oracles rather offensively. But even with this Banshee damage so far, this is still, well, he doesn't even have a tag here, so that's a little bit painful.
I have to say that the game, there's been a lot of moments that have gone well for Patience, but there's also been moments where Maru's able to come back in, and I don't necessarily, at least in this game, want to chalk that up to just Maru being so good. I feel like Patience has had some missed opportunities here and there.
Yeah.
To eke out more damage.
His Banshee defense, it has existed, but it hasn't been great.
Yeah, the presence of that defense is not enough to ensure a win.
Yeah.
This is still not letting up. I mean, we're getting up to what, almost 14 kills now.
And really, this is the only thing that's gone wrong for him so far in this game against Maru is the Banshee defense. It was a little bit light at first, and then he kind of overcommitted with those Oracles across the map. They almost did a ton of damage, but didn't have the energy right, so they didn't do a ton of damage. They didn't do very much, to be honest. They killed a few extra units. Whereas if his Banshee defense was on point, Patience would be massively ahead right now. He's not.
Yeah.
The game is still going to go on. It's still a pretty good game, I think. But, like, see that 19 probes? If he hadn't lost 19 probes, he would have ridiculous macro going right now with good upgrades, a much quicker third base. He'd be all over the map. But, you know, that's part of Maru's magic, right? Making things
very
work.
Very true. I feel like, if those Banshees had not done that much, he would have an engine that would have allowed him to produce enough to actually try to contest the space that we see being taken over here.
Yeah.
But you're right. Maru is a player with a lot of finesse. He can come in there. He can do damage. He knows when to attack and he knows when to leave. This is actually pretty big. Denying the concussive shell.
Yeah. So I hope that's stim. It's not.
Still, though, I mean, one denial there on that upgrade, especially with Marauders now in production.
Yeah, you just force Maru kind of back in his base as well. You know, he's getting some very clutch upgrades right now. Psystorm and +2 armor, these are 2 of the strongest upgrades, especially this early in the game. There's no ghosts out, and it's just going to be 1/1 units for Maru right now. So that +2 armor going to be huge, especially against this type of army. You know, you have a lot of Marauders in there. You have a lot of siege tanks in there. The Zealots are going to be very, very crucial in the upcoming fight. Let's not forget the new patch is out. It is live. It's been live for a bit, so those Marauders definitely going to do better against the Protoss units than normal.
Okay, and we already see Maru pushing out now. A scan here, eliminating any stasis wards. It looks like he's going to push directly north. Oh, wow.
That was
like
a good
the same
lure.
spot that he got at earlier on this game.
Oh, my gosh. And those Psystorms being dropped out. Just awesome.
Yeah.
Some of the Zealots not charging forward here, though.
There was actually not an angle that Maru could come in there and attack in. Through after the stasis went off, but it seems like he just has enough. He's taken out all the Immortals. There's one more being made right now. We see some Templars coming in here and some Storms blanketing this area. You know what? There might just be enough infantry if he continues to send some reinforcements in here. I don't know what the energy is on the medevacs, but this Archon's going to go down.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, it just barely didn't get to that shield battery. That actually would have been huge to save it there. He'd be able to push this back so much more easily. The reinforcements from Maru are very slow as well. I got to tell you, like, Maru's doing a good job of kind of fighting his way into this game, and somehow like 18 probes are dead during this.
That's it, GG. The reinforcements are coming up from behind.
What happened to those probes? Was there a Banshee got in again?
It might have.
Okay, so look, the analysis of this game for me, looking at that, right? I feel like Patience could have won this game if he defended the Banshee a little bit better. You know, he has way more units than he had during that fight, and he would have rolled through that army. He had great usage of the stasis wards. He had, you know, his build order was very solid. He denied scouting for quite some time. The Oracles did some good work and all these things. I think that this was a well-played game by Patience, but obviously there were some mistakes there that allowed Maru to come back and win.
It seems to me like Patience has the understanding. He does not have the ability to execute when he's actually faced with that challenge. When that push begins to come in, it is so tough for him to have the footwork. And by the way, Maru made some mistakes back there.
Sure.
I would say they're forgivable mistakes, especially at this level of play. But he was caught off guard with that initial push with no medevacs. I think it was 3 tanks and some Marines and some Banshees. Patience was unable to shut down the Banshee harass when it came in there. He had the units to counter that. He was unable to exploit the trapped units and shave them off fully. Anyways, let's go into game 2 on our new map, Dreamcatcher.
Jin Air Green Wings, Maru. Dead Pixels, Patience.
I'm very excited here. Our first time in the GSL on Dreamcatcher.
So I will tell you that when I first saw this map, I did not see a Dreamcatcher.
What did you see?
I saw an octopus guy. If you look at the mini-map, I saw an octopus guy going to the upper right, and then I saw Alien Man falling over. Because if you look, you can see his arms coming out, and there's his legs, and he's got his he's got his healing crystals or whatever around his neck. Yeah.
Wow.
He looks a little bit drunk too, in how he's falling down.
Oh, he definitely would be.
But yeah, this is Dreamcatcher.
Really a beautiful map.
I'm glad we're doing
really
maps
good.
like this. It's so cool.
Yeah, I always like the new maps that come out. We have like a lot of really interesting ones out right now. Have you seen that mineral glitch on Redshift yet? Oh, I'll
Not
show
yet.
you about that later. It's really cool. I was kind of sad to see that we wouldn't be using that map here, but kind of just a lot of interesting things popping up right now in StarCraft 2. Especially with the great map designers that we have in this community.
Some Maru support from USA. You know, I'm trying to imagine, as good as this group is, Maru not getting out first. Does that sound strange? I don't think that
there is any guarantee that he will get out first here.
You think so?
That, I think that him versus Zest can absolutely go to Zest. And him versus Solar could go to Solar, but I think Maru should be able to take down Solar. That's kind of my take on it, right? Like, especially after watching that first game, Zest is much better than Patience. All right, in fact, Zest...
Oh, I think Zest looks a lot cleaner than Patience, as far as play goes.
Yeah, he is. His execution is probably the best amongst all Protosses.
And a lot of the stuff that he does looks smart, but sometimes doesn't end up working out.
Yeah.
But you can see on paper, whoa, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
So that shade, he opted to have that not complete, assuming that there was nothing up there. And now there's one Reaper that can come inside here.
Man.
And maybe even actually get some probe kills, which you normally don't see right away. One already down.
He's going to lose 2 here. But yeah, he gets that scout off and sees exactly what's incoming. Is going to end up losing the Reaper, but, you know, 2 probe kills, I would say that's pretty worth. But yeah, look, I don't think it's, by any means, is Maru guaranteed to get first, nor is he guaranteed to get out of the group. Like, I think he matches up pretty well with Solar, but that's a strong Zerg, man. He's very intelligent. But Maru's TVZ looks so good right now, right? So, I don't know. It's a great group. It's hard to predict, even with a champion like Maru.
I just feel like Maru is looking so strong. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be easy for him to advance through the group.
Yeah. I think he should.
But if I had to pick an order, I would absolutely take Maru first. I might actually take Solar second here.
Solar, I think that's reasonable.
I've actually had hold up.
I could see Zest just having an on day, too, and just killing everybody. Zest is always one of the best Protoss in the world.
This is a pretty technical way to try to move in here. Now, he may just shade out. In fact, I think he almost certainly has to, as he did not really, I think due to how good Maru was, didn't really get a good position to do that much damage.
He's actually going into Glaives behind this. No forge or anything. He's only got a couple gases right now, adding a couple gateways. I wonder if this is just going to be adept pressure into a third base? Or oh, okay, now he's adding some more gateways. I was wondering about that, so.
Yeah, well, he has to get something to spend that money. So he's got the gates coming down now.
a Robo coming up as well, so maybe some Adept pressure into a Prism here to try to finish him off. Definitely could be something like that, but Maru's got a bunch of Variks right off the bat here. He's going to have a lot of bio units, and look at this, 2 Marauders at a time, really utilizing that new patch.
These guys are both going for a lot more of a fighting style coming up here. They definitely want to try to start inflicting damage. So this may come down to just a brawl in the middle of the map or outside one of each other's naturals, and then we just see where the game goes from there, who controls what units they have at that time well. Certainly we're going to need to see some Immortals coming out here for Protoss as soon as possible. I think already Patience is starting to feel the pressure, and you can see that Maru's actually serpentining his army through the map just to comb through that area and make sure there's nothing out that can be punished. Now, again, he got hit by a stasis ward. There are no stasis wards out now, but... Oh, hold on. Okay, I was wondering if he was coming out there to try to do that. That was a good tag.
Yeah.
However...
He just needs to buy a little bit of time here. That's why he's warped in a couple sentries. See
okay,
that?
I think Maru's going to back up.
Just kind of daring him to come up the ramp, warps in another sentry to make sure he's not going to die to anything. He's got his glaives done. He's about to have that Immortal. So everything's fine. That was really well played on both sides. And both of them taking their third bases at similar times here. Maru's just a little bit quicker.
Maru's going to knock down these boulders here.
Whoa, why do the ones on the right fall? He wasn't shooting those.
They were soulmates.
Oh my God. Identical
they
twin
loved each
boulders.
other. So we have a small warp in with the...
It reminds me of the video in front of the Moana movie. I don't know, anyone with kids maybe knows what that is.
I'm sorry, Tosis. Our memes are out of sync right now.
They are. That was funny, though.
So he sees that the third is about to be finished. I think he actually snipped the SCV that was over, about to finish that command center. And both players basically backing off. A lot of times when you have army compositions like this, it doesn't really favor either side to try to attack into the other one too hard.
Yeah.
You can see Maru testing the waters and looking at that situation saying, well, if I stay here for too much longer, this would not be really logical. Just in RGS theory, they both have fighting unit compositions. That would mean whoever moves across the map first, nice hit there, takes out the Oracle.
Yeah,
I'm actually going
to... The map is kind of long, too.
It is.
We're watching them walk back and forth here, and you've seen just how long it takes to get across. And when the map gets long like that, it becomes even harder, as you say, especially with compositions like this, to actually walk up and just kill your opponent. Now, the way that Patience is trying to do this, right, it's two-pronged. He has a bunch of sentries to negate the amounts of units that Maru has, and then he also has the Warp Prism for these instant warp-ins. So we'll see. He's coming in, though. Look at this angle that Maru has. He's a gigantic
this is actually... He can get a 360 degrees of damage if he does this. And Patience doesn't move out in time. The force fields have gone down. They've done a decent job of blocking on the left side, but Maru's actually done a really good job running with these Marauders on the right. And when these force fields dissipate, maybe Maru could try to come in here and engulf this army on that side as well.
Okay, this is a good move by Patience. There's been a lot of good moves on both sides here. He's eliminated one of the flanks, which is huge, but he's used a ton of his force fields. Now, I don't know exactly what his energy's like, but it's enough that Maru is playing super defensively here.
Note that the third base here for Maru was picked up. Maru could not be in a more defensive posture. Is it possible that Patience is just going to try to come here and bully his way through?
Well, is it going to work? That shade forward is kind of interesting.
Keep in mind, he's just taking out SCVs. He's kiting backwards. And now he has a choice. Does he want to try to push in any further? Seems like the Marauders have a decent angle. The Immortals are crab walking and not really doing any damage.
That's not what you want, the crab walking there. And Liberator comes out, so maybe that's enough to stabilize. Tries to do a massive shade, a good quick wall by Maru, but losing that many SCVs, his economy is super hurt.
I actually feel like Maru's making some mistakes here. He actually landed that command center at the very bottom and dropped mules there. Now, if that gets spotted, that's going to be interrupted once more. But Patience is going to try to push it even further. Now, remember, it's 54 workers to 22. That push that Patience did, he did what he needed to do. He killed off a ton of workers. Now, is Patience going to be antithetical to his ID and try to just barrel in here and end this game? He might, and it might work, although it might not be, at the same time, the most advisable way to approach this. And you can see Maru already had pretty adequate defense there. I don't know.
I'm surprised he did that. But, look, he's still putting on that pressure. He smells blood in the water, but I think that the blood is dissipated. Maru has bandaged everything. I mean, it's okay to kind of sit here and try to keep your opponent back, but during this, Maru is kind of re-SCVing. He's dropping his mules at that now hidden third base.
Yeah, I felt like just looking at the map, that should have been an obvious location to check for. That he might have tried to hide that down there. By the way, good job there by Patience. Spots that medevac, and that causes Maru to decide to not push this any further.
They're going to drop these adepts in the main base. Any SCV damage right now is super powerful as well, considering how much he's already killed. So even those 3 plus the lost mining time, definitely decent. Oh, wow. Continues to do damage here to Maru.
So this was a risk here for Maru to send this out, but I think it was a really intelligent risk. You know, if Patience had not swooped by there, it wasn't like he was even scouting that location. But absolutely, Maru does have to reclaim a third base and really send more SCVs to it. The problem with that is that I feel that this is going to be a 1-2 punch victory for Patience, where the next attack just ends this game.
I think what's going to happen here, right, if you look at the units that Maru's producing, he's not even focusing on SCVs. He's just getting as strong an army as he can.
You're actually completely right. He's pulling SCVs now.
So he's going to come up and decide this right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, these rocks here are going to be pretty handy. This actually buys him, Patience, a little bit of time to try to have an answer. But if this attack, especially while the SCV's pulled, you can see Maru actually going for a complete opposite of what we thought. You know, he might have to come in here and try to just start making SCVs and play the long game. He's not. He wants to end this right now. Now, Patience comes in there and kills off all the other SCVs, for the most part, that are mining. So it's going to be really difficult for Maru to produce anything beyond this because the rest of his SCVs are in this attack.
He has to kill him right now. That's what this comes down to. Maru must kill Patience, or Patience will take map number 2.
He's warping in some more sentries here, so he might try to further this wall of force fields. Again, every passing second is just going to help Patience that much more. Patience already getting further and further ahead in supply. Now this army fight, Maru can still make something happen.
Yeah, it could. That's a very strong army. You engage that poorly, then maybe Maru can somehow get back into this and maybe even win the game from there. But look at this, picking off these extra units here, kill those Widow Mines off, kill off the Liberators, and the Bio Army will fall.
Okay, Liberator has been taken out of the equation. We see sentries coming forward. Now there's 3 Immortals in the back. The Marauders down at the bottom are beginning to thin out. We see small numbers of reinforcements pushing up, and it is not enough. GG. Patience ties this up 1-1.
Yeah, this was well played by Patience. You have to give it to him, right? He utilized those sentries really well. It looked a little bit nerve-wracking in the beginning when Maru had the great flank, but he had so many sentries. He had put so much money into that if that hadn't worked, Patience would have been in a real pickle.
Now, I was mentioning this earlier. Maru should get out of this group first, but it's not going to be easy. Do I think he's going to win the next game? Yeah, probably. I would expect Maru to take the next game, but he's got to be careful because someone like Patience is still strong enough to take a game off of this year's Season 1 GSL Code S champion. That goes to show you how scary the entire round of 16 is in the GSL.
Indeed it is. The weakest player here might be able to take out the champion. They're so close. The set 3 will be on Backwater. This is generally considered a pretty good map for Protoss vs. Terran. Protoss players are pretty comfortable here, right? There's only one place to defend your 3 bases. So what will Maru bring to this fight?
Jin Air Green Wings, Maru. Dead Pixels, Patience.
Well. I am very interested to see how Maru wants to play this. Will he just go into a longer game? You generally can't just bully down the front door here. You know, we've seen people try that. It doesn't really work.
Yeah, we were joking about that before with, I think it was Yun's games.
Against Stats.
Where he was trying to push through. And, you know, Stats was playing the map, I think what we'd say is the proper way to approach, at least in RTS theory. I think overall, Not even like in some kind of current meta. He just took extra bases and held this one attacking point, and it worked, and he held it off. But with I think anything, if he tries to do anything like what Beyond did, I know that in this case Patience is the Protoss, but I think it's the same concept, right?
Oh,
PvT is kind of funny like that, where it doesn't seem like there's one race that has to be reacting to something. It seems like they can in some ways do the same things to each other. Oracles can come in and start to take out your workers, so can Banshees. You can both get solid tier 1 armies with a few complementary units on the side and push into each other. I think that's what made Game 2 pretty cool, was that, in a lot of ways they could have won fights had they been in different parts of the map, even though they had the same amounts of units.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's funny in StarCraft 2, PvT is one of the matchups that's actually very much like that, where you have engagements that it kind of
can definitely go either way.
Yeah,
right? Depending on your spell usage, your micro during the battle, or your tactics.
A Terran can end up being the one that really has to defend against a lot right away, and it doesn't have to be something crazy and cheesy. A Protoss can be the one that has to defend right away. It doesn't have to be something crazy and cheesy from the Terran. You have options for, it's like a scale or whatever, of how much pressure versus defense you're trying to put on. It's a cool matchup.
Indeed. Well, Reaper gonna come in and try to do a little scouting. Maru right now just going up into reactored Widow Mines. Maybe a lot of drops coming, we'll see. An additional 2 gates right off the bat here with the Chronode. Uh-oh. Oh, wow, this scout is actually...
Yeah, this is so huge.
That's so crucial. Like, this is definitely a bit of a mistake here. Like, he wanted to stop this from being scouted, but the thing is, I think you probably just take another Nexus from here as Patience. Like, okay, what his original plan was this, exactly, right? You make a bunch of units and you attack. But, based on...
commit to it.
You think so?
I mean, I think you're correct
It's
that
such
it
a
would be
bad
better
idea.
to stay back. But he's getting the Twilight.
If you see a Chronode Warp Gate and 3 gates this early, you have to defend or you'll just die. It's not like the Protoss has to be a 500 IQ genius monster 3-time GSL champion, to kill you when you have teched up and he's got 3 gates right off the bat. So I feel like as Patience here, considering that got scouted, if he just were to take another Nexus, that'd be great.
Well, he's warping in over here. Now he looked at where those Widow Mines were, but the Widow Mines were shuffled again.
Yeah.
So he has this Zealot that's coming up here. Now with Blink on the way, you can blink in and then dodge out of a Widow Mine shot, but he wants to instead have the Zealot eat this shot and then have it sniped down. Oh my god, and look at that tank placement. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
As soon as you commit.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
It's like everything was already paired with the other unit there for the Terran side of the base. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work out too well. The medevac is going to come in. Now this is empty. But this might make Patience freak out. See?
Yep.
Oh, no.
There's nothing there.
Sucker. All right, now he's got to get it back out of here. This is just a bad
boost
play.
is back.
Okay.
I love it. Good play. And Maru's, of course, taking his own 3rd base.
In case
Patience looked like he was going to, and then he didn't.
That was a really intelligent play. As long as he gets his medevac out, it's actually not that easy to get the medevac out because there's a lot of area where you can try to hit it. Okay, so it looks like it should be able to get away no problem. Yeah, at the highest level of play, that's something that you can do. Send that in there just to interrupt their mining that much.
Yeah.
And do a little bit of scouting.
Especially when you see that many units over near your base, you're like, well, this should be pretty easy to fool them up with. Now, I really do like where Patience is going so far with this. Getting that support bay up right now, getting his 3rd Nexus and Blink. His 3rd base a little bit slower than Maru's, which isn't optimal, obviously, but he was trying to do an attack early on. The question here is, does he go Disruptor or does he go Colossus? And I think both are just completely fine. I think the only thing that's really missing is the Forges. Okay, he puts those down just at this moment, so... Everything looking fine on both sides. Like, I would say that this is pretty even right now. Maybe a tiny edge towards Maru.
I would say Maru hasn't missed a beat, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Maru did a little bit of extra damage there. It looks like there's a depth, by the way. It's going to get confirmation of that 3rd base. But, yeah, it's not like it's a bad game right now for Patience.
No. This is completely playable, especially on such a big map. You can have everything be a little bit slower because you are set up very well defensively against any pushes. So 1-1 on the way on both sides. It is going to be Colossus Tech.
By the way, it's going to be very impressive if Patience wins on a map like this, because I think Maru's somebody who's proven that he gets better and better in a later part of the game. He's got a lot of finesse early on. He can definitely win some good fights, but if you let him get too big, it's like he's almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that is necessarily the case for Patience, and that's not to say that he has bad late game, but I do think there's a stark difference between the two.
Yeah, there definitely is. You're right. Maybe the strongest player in the round versus the weakest player in the round, but when you're up this high, the differences are smaller and smaller.
Right. But I mean, especially for like late game, where Maru really shines.
Yeah, he has more and more lately too, which is funny because I never really thought of him in that regard, but he's really filled that in.
He used to win a lot of fights in mid game.
Yeah.
Like right around you're both on 3 bases or someone's trying to take a 4th and he's just zipping around. I think iconically he was mostly known for just juking and jiving around the map and then picking up and dumping his army into your main.
Yeah.
And that was...
yeah.
I can't think of another player comes to mind that did it anywhere near as much as that. And with as much grace, to be honest, as well. But now I almost feel like you let Maru get even past that point in the game where he might be trying that, and it's even harder to deal with.
Well, another interesting thing to think of is, like, let's say that Maru did lose this. Patience might just win the group. That's a real possibility as well. I don't want to get too much into that, but this is the crazy thing about the round of 16. I think that anything can happen except for Rogue not going through. I think the only guaranteed thing in the round of 16 is Rogue advances.
That'll be completely insane if he doesn't.
Yeah. But,
to be honest. By the way, Patience is taking his 4th. Slightly ahead, I think, with his 2 Robo Colossus. It's going to be pretty difficult, unless it's a positional game, for Maru to actually do any damage. I mean, there's no real easy way to take this head on with double Robo Colossus coming out.
Yeah. Well, when he has 4 out, it's getting pretty wild at that point to try to defend against that.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of brute force that Patience has. Now, Patience is actually moving out, which I did not expect this to happen, because there's going to be actually a high amount of vulnerability if Maru does try to do even a small drop somewhere else. But
I think he's getting a little bit lucky with it, because I generally agree, like, he shouldn't be moving out as Patience, but because Maru is going off 3 bases into Liberator range, he's in the middle of a kind of a tech transition, and he's making a 4th base, he's a little bit lower on units. A lot of times Terrans are gearing up for an attack here. That's not the case with Maru. Maru's just trying to have map presence.
It almost seems like Patience is trying to make sure that Maru doesn't take a 4th. Now, again, being out on the map with Colossus like this can be a double-edged sword, but it doesn't seem like Maru's playing in any way that's going to necessarily lend him into a good spot because of this. So I think Patience is doing a really good job. So far, everything he's doing right now is working.
And I tell you what, he's got a lot of Colossus here. With that Liberator tech switch really coming up, that's going to be in full force in another minute or 2. He's going to have to be on the map at that point. Chrono boosts out your 2-2. He's getting Psystorm done and get out there, because if Maru gets into position with ranged Liberator, you will never break that with anything.
Now, what do you think about these Zealots that are having a picnic, just to the right of the 3rd base?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
It seems like it's a force that's ready to run in at some point, or maybe he's waiting for a prism to get up there or something. I'm not sure.
It seems like this army is going to eventually just find this, and this army having nothing else with it. I mean, it seems like he will suffer some losses here.
Yeah, it looks like 3-4 Zealot's going to go down.
It seems like you could have left the pylon there, and if you saw him try to come out on the map, then you warp in. But kind of a peculiar... It's not horrible, but we saw what happened, right? I mean, that is supply that could have gone to your main army, and you use your next warping round. I don't mean to be too nitpicky with what Patience is doing, but
it had to have been like an idea for a counterattack. Or but Maru's, I guess here's the thing, like what we were talking about before. Normally a Terran would have attacked by now, and Maru's not playing like that, which I think is a correct assessment for the way the game is going and the map that we're on. And I think this is part of what makes Maru the best Terran in the world right now. But yeah, like, if he had come out with a big attack and those Zealots had countered in the natural immediately, oh my god, that could have been amazing, right? Instead, like, Patience doesn't really know what to do right now. He's kind of just walking around. But he does need to be on the map, because ranged Liberators are done.
That's right. And they're going to be able to just claim territory really, really quickly here. Now... Patience is going to go ahead and expand again. I think Patience, like you were saying, thought Maru was going to react somewhere.
Yeah.
And then there would be his own domino effect as to what he had set up, but it just didn't happen. Maru's actually playing, I'd say, possibly the most conservative game we may have seen from him tonight. He's just very much staying back. Wow, this is a great spot, though.
Super lucky by Patience to run into that right at this moment. Maru going to force that Prism back. But look,
turn into a boat and go in the river.
Yeah, just even seeing that's his game. Just even seeing that's his game plan.
Paddling down there.
Using their side
You notice
blades.
there is a river that runs all the way under this map.
Yeah,
you know?
I do
You
see
could
that.
get back all the way to your third base and defend there if you do it right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, seeing this big drop, being able to just stop that dead in its tracks, force Maru to go home, that's all really nice stuff.
Hold up, there's a small force coming up over here. A lot of cannons over here. If he's going to try to dive into the right. Yeah, look at that. You just can't do it. There's Templars there too, just at the bottom right of the screen.
Oh man.
But he could have fed backed.
It is hard to say. Is it feedbacked? Fed back?
I don't know how we have
Fed backed?
Fed back Ed?
Yeah, maybe.
Octopi? I mean, nobody knows.
Literally nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah, Webster's not on that one.
Yeah.
Yet.
Even octopus surgeons don't know what to call like multiples.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Tempests at a time being made. Mass shield batteries as well. This is something we saw pop up. Actually, I don't think I think that's the day that you missed, where we saw the outposts of mass shield batteries in the middle of the map when you're going Tempest.
Yeah.
And it's really actually very, very cool.
Yeah, that was the day I wasn't able to come in.
Yeah. But
but this is a cool concept. You know, it kind of makes me think about when we would see spores get pushed out.
Yeah.
Because like the Colossus, it's not exactly like a Broodlord, but it's a slow unit, right? And sometimes you just need cover. You need something to keep that like sustained and alive.
Absolutely.
And that's one interesting way to approach this. So
especially when you're maxed out, it's like, well, you have all this extra money. If these shield batteries like really hold a position for you or save some of your expensive gas-based units, more power to you. But this game is getting extremely interesting as well.
We have a weird rally here. Hold on.
Do we?
Oh no, I thought those tanks were going to keep rolling out. There's just tanks here though. Yeah, I think this is a weird rally.
Oh. Well, it was 2 tanks. That's funny.
But I think he just started making them again. Or no, wait, were those from the start?
I think those are from the start.
Okay, so never mind. It wasn't a weird rally. That would have been from just units he was either trying to get rid of or trying to pair up somewhere else.
So I want to mention this,
Yeah,
right?
go ahead.
That this is like really great. We're seeing them hit the Supreme late game. For Protoss, this is kind of straightforward, right? You get Tempest and lots of splash damage and all your upgrades.
Revenge of the Marauders here.
Kind of weird that those Immortals are sitting there. Immortals, I feel like, are pretty useful all game. But from the Terran point of view, right, for a little bit against this type of stuff, we were seeing a lot of Ravens being made. Some people were trying that out, but obviously the Ravens, with that big nerf, it's not as likely to see anymore. Wow, we're just going to see every tech unit die to this little group of units. But we're seeing like massive Viking here, which makes me even kind of more sad that he just lost 4 Immortals. Because when your opponent goes for lots of Vikings to knock out your Colossus, Immortal value goes way up.
Right.
You can't
Especially
land
if they decide to land it.
Well, the land button should be deactivated.
There's only one thing. It's literally worse than when the Viking lands against the Ultra in that cutscene in Heart of the Swarm. And when it lands against Immortals, it doesn't even.
Yeah, landed. Just Vikings in general. If you have like lots of Mortals and someone has a lot of Vikings, you just feel like you're going to win the game no matter what.
Right.
Because it's like the Vikings are just nothing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird they lost that, but it's fine. They both have gigantic economies right now.
Look at those Liberators and Vikings.
Yeah. But how many Tempests does he have? He has to have 7, 8 Tempests right now, with these 2 more popping out.
So this is kind of funny. We've got nukes on the way. Now I'm so used to seeing this against like, because of the shield battery setup, I'm so used to seeing this against Zergs.
Yeah.
Where it's hitting spores over and over.
Totally.
And the Broodlords run away 90% of the time, but it's like, what are the okay, hold up. He's taking out that position. I think as I was speculating, but now we're just going to see.
Wow.
Bye, High Templars. If we all heal each other.
Preemptive heals. Let's do it. Oh. Well, that's a good nuke.
Yeah, I mean that.
Can't get up and run with a shield battery.
You actually get a lot more value out of that than we normally see in other matchups. Okay, fires another nuke here.
Okay, there's actually a nuke on that army.
Is there no spotter here?
No, there's not.
Yeah, I'm leaning forward here. I don't see one.
Well, when you have this type of army with a lot of Tempests, you really need to have Oracles out, and not to find Ghosts, although that would help here.
Look at this. This nuke's going to land right on top of this. Oh, my God.
Okay,
This is huge.
Oh,
wow.
My God.
I think this is going to let Maru sink his teeth in now.
Yeah, the anti-armor missile on top of all of that. Patience is losing so much. He's got no detection whatsoever. He's got mass Tempest. He's unable to do anything with them so far.
Yep. Maru turning Patience's army into a Sunny D commercial right now.
Give this man another 2 weeks off. Oh, my God.
I think that I might be wrong here, but the amount of minerals and gas that Maru has and the fact that Maru's already carving out the bottom of the map, I think we should just see this end unless that nuke hits all those Vikings. No.
Well, I mean, maybe it just hits the army again. I gotta say, like, I think that Patience has done many, many things, but his late game here, you were talking about how Maru's late game is substantially better. That word isn't big enough. We need a bigger word than that. We need a $15 word for better to describe just how much better Maru's late game is than Patience this game. Should I say that? Patience's late game so far, it's been like bumbling.
Bumbling, okay.
You know, it's just like
Maru's been very Zeus-like in this.
He's just been so precise and so well done, and like Patience is sitting here without detection. He's getting nuked. He's like, he's having a hard time.
He never seemed to get that detection either. It was actually continuously making disruptors.
Well, I mean, disruptors are a form of killing ghosts for sure. You know,
well, I mean,
you can
in theory they
that.
can, yeah. But I would say this is probably the ill-advised way to play this. And you can see now he's making an observer when everything sort of calms down. And after all of that damage that Patience was basically absorbing, Maru's completely taken the top side of the map.
Yeah, and it's not that Patience can't still win this. He could. He's got a lot of splash damage, so if he has like one battle really go his way, Maru's got about one remax in it. You know, and that's a big tempo advantage at that point as well. Patience was like definitely hemorrhaging units, but he did not hemorrhage the whole army, so he's still got a very strong one. It's just he could be in a much better spot if it hadn't gone that way.
Okay, this is going to be pretty tough for Patience to break into, but the Tempests are going to come in handy here. He needs to keep those Colossi safe.
He's doing an okay job with these Tempests so far, but with those anti-armor missiles on, it becomes very, very difficult. Look at how quickly they're getting targeted down. Oh my God.
Great disruptor hits. It looks like a few of our disruptors are not firing, though. It seems like there's too many abilities to cast at once over here. But with it all said and done, Patience seems to be pushing further ahead here. I think Maru way overextended there. And, you know, even if he has enough money to remax out, I don't think he has enough buildings to remax out fast enough before so much of his base is going to be wiped out. Now, Patience has to navigate this army very carefully through this. And this is actually, I think, the best way to go. But hold on. Hold on. There is a nuke firing. Hold on.
Hold on. This nuke could be a game winner.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he's actually getting out of its range for the most part. Oh,
he stopped it. He stopped it. He's going to try again, though.
Yeah, multiple nukes going down, trying to chase him back with nukes, and it's actually working.
This is what happens 8 years later in StarCraft 2. You strategically corner them into your base with nukes until there's nowhere else to run. He's like, all right, now is it worth it to lose all my depots here?
It's like a base trade. This is what I wanted you to do. Oh my God, the amount of Liberators out right now is just madness. Patience trying to break through everything.
What? I actually think he might be able to do it. He did not get up the ramp. The Colossi are going to go down. Yeah, in fact, they're all gone. Patience is not really producing behind this. If you watch the production tab, it's like Maru mass producing. Okay, now we see Patience is finally kicking into high gear here. But, you know, I think had Patience managed, I think nukes caused a little bit more of a problem than we were really acknowledging there because he couldn't quite get up onto the production structures like the barracks.
Yeah.
How many barracks are actually on the map, though? What are these?
No idea.
We see like maybe they're extra command centers.
Those
for
are
mules.
those are.
So he doesn't have anything, nothing else that he can actually produce out of. I think had Patience gotten up there and wiped that out, he might be in a better spot. Several more Templar have been made. Notice that Patience is not really making more robo units either.
Yeah, well, his economy is really poor at this point. Like what we were talking about before, he had one thing going for him. It's that he had a lot of splash damage in his army. So, like, killing Maru's army and trying to get on top of the production structures, I think was a valid choice.
I think that was the best possible play.
I think so. Like, the thing is, if you kill that army off, and then if you move to the right and kill all those other command centers, that, when all is said and done, that probably would have gone better, considering killing him straight up didn't work. But I think his actual decision-making there was really valid and really smart. It just, it ends up not working, but it's like, hey, you utilized what you had to the very best of your ability there. And he's still fighting, but this push from Maru is going to be relentless.
Well, this also emphasizes, what kind of monster Maru really is in the late game. He's already maxed out again. He's just traveling through the map. I think this is going to be the last fight here. And that's it. And in fact, you can land the Vikings here. GG. Maru closes that out with a 2-1. It's a result, I think, score-wise, and we can say we're not too surprised by, but I will say Patience did a very good job. I think Patience was in a situation that I think even with a lot of practice, it's hard to navigate.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the nukes and all this, not a lot of Terran's nuke against Protoss.
I mean, it was almost like he had cut the last hit off the Hydra there by getting inside of where the production was for the barracks, but there were too many tools at Maru's disposal, and suddenly he was inside of a prison. And he was just taking a beating, and as he left, it was too much damage. We're going to go to a short break. We come back. Solar versus Zest. Stick around.
Watch me break apart, facing what I'm not. How did I make it out
you brush tears from my cheek. Don't you leave my side, no, not ever. Like sunshine in stereo, stereo. Yeah.
아프리카 TV에는 당신이 아는 것보다 다양한 인종이 살고 있죠. 말 많은 인종, 발 빠른 인종, 잘 먹는 인종, 영리한 인종, 친절한 인종까지. 모든 게 컨텐츠가 되고 누구나 주인공이 되는 세상. 알고 보면 멋진 세상.
Are you free? Africa TV.
We're back.
Yes, we are back. And that was a great first series.
That was a great series.
Patience versus Maru. Obviously, Maru is a big favorite, and that's who we wanted to face.
Right.
It goes back to your point of, like, this is not a clear path for Maru. This is, you know, he should get out of the group, but that was a close match, and Patience could have won that. He could have won game 1. He could have won game 3. Maru was the better player and ended up winning, and I guess that's how it's supposed to be, but, you know, on any given Wednesday, maybe Patience would have won that series.
Yeah, I think if Patience had played a little bit cleaner, I mean, you can see a lot of the ideas are there. Sometimes the execution is not. I think Patience actually had moved himself into a potentially winning position, but I think basically the first time I've ever seen anything like that ever in my... How long have we been casting StarCraft for? Forever.
Forever.
100
years.
At least half my life. I've never
what?
seen somebody get pushed inside somebody else's base with nukes and then
yeah, that was
trade unfavorably.
That was definitely a different, interesting.
That was something else.
It was cool though. It just
yeah.
shows how good Maru is, how smart he is, and I think that especially that last game had so many smart moves on both sides. I'd love to go back in a replay and just pause it several times, but I mean that was a great game and a great series. And now this one coming up, I mean Solar versus Zest. This has the smell of a round of 8 match, if you ask me.
Yeah, it feels like it's almost in the wrong spot of the tournament. But look, we have to start reevaluating who's supposed to be where because, frankly, who knows, man? By next year, this might just be a round of 32 matches. Everybody's so goddamn good.
AB.
We're going to Acid Plant. A fight to decide who will control all the acid this plant makes.
What are you going to do when this map gets rotated out?
I don't know.
30% of your cast is talking about all the acid.
All the acid. Who's going to rule it? There can only be one.
Don't most.
Did you see Zest's face?
No, I didn't.
Oh, never mind.
What do you do?
He looked like he was about to eat Gerber baby food. He had the cutest little tongue sticking out a little bit.
Splice, Solar, Zest.
Okay, so I've had my ear to the ground, Artosis.
Yeah.
I saw on No Regrets Twitter.
Yeah.
Solar playing in the team house. I went,
yeah.
Hairs on the back of my neck stood up a little bit.
I know, right?
Solar's been training with the non-Koreans. Wow.
He's like the perfect guy to do it. His English is amazing.
Yeah. We didn't find out until about 6 years ago he spoke English. Some support here for Solar. And Mom.
Solar first, though.
Solar first, though. He's got his priorities in straight.
Yeah, no doubt. Mother's Day was
We didn't know for
last
6
week.
years that Solar spoke English, didn't we? We did not know for a long time, and then he was talking to us in English overseas. I'm like, what?
He was talking to us in English. I'm like, I don't understand you.
Haven't you heard our casting? Unless you can communicate in memes, there's no way to talk to us.
Look how even these two are. A really great match for each other. I think so, too. You know, Solar I always think of as a very brainy Zerg player. He's definitely a strategic leader. You know, very specifically, he is actually the, as far as televised professional matches go, the inventor of Hydra Ling Bane. Bet a lot of you didn't know that. It's actually true. He was the first one to show. He showed it in against Stats in SSL.
It was a lot of stuff going on at SPO TV where he was really exhibiting that.
Yeah, he was. So, I mean, he's one of the players that was really using Swarm hosts when they got changed still, and other players weren't really seeing it yet. And, I mean, he's a very good, very intelligent player. Zest is quite different. Zest has, like, theoretically the best build orders, and in my opinion, the best execution of any Protoss player. And, like, his games can look dominating, and then sometimes he just dies, too. So it's, you know, once upon a time, for sure the best Protoss in the world. Now I only try to argue to keep him top 3 tasteless.
Ooh, get back up there. Imagine that. You gotta hold your breath if you're that overlord up there.
I know, right? You gotta suck in your
suck
stomach
it
right
in,
there.
man. Yeah. Your overlord beer belly hangs out, and that's it. You're eating shots. There's no armor there, that's for sure.
No. So it looks like the charge build. Okay.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah,
okay,
he's
so
got no gases here.
We've seen this a lot here in this matchup.
You think it'll? Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be
He's
all
just going to
in.
have he's going to have the gateways come out.
He hasn't pulled the probes off gas yet, though, in the main. Normally, you pull those and transfer and
let's see.
Stop your probe production a little bit earlier too.
You can get an immortal with this though, right?
I think
the Robo comes out, and then you can get one immortal and do it with the Zealots. I think that's what he's.
You see what he's doing? This is actually a new version.
Okay.
This isn't.
Okay.
It's actually like a more delayed Archon drop. It's like you start with some charge. Who did this just recently? In the round of 32, we saw this, and I'm blanking right now on exactly who did this build, but it was very interesting to see, actually. Maybe it was actually Patience. It could have actually been Patience against Scarlet that we saw this, where it's like you go in, you start your harass, and it's kind of funny because then suddenly DTs are there. And it's like, oh, what's up? And a lot of the games that we saw, in fact, I think it might have been Patience for Scarlet. But anyways, we'll see if he gets a second Prism. Wait, did he just start a second Prism? Or am I just...
No, he's got a second Prism for sure.
So the second Prism will fly towards the main base while you're harassing the other base with charge lots, and then 4 DTs are in your base. And you're like, what? Because it's like, it's just delayed. Like, at the normal times, you expect them to come out.
It's so cool with a lot of timings, how then there'll be a second or a third or a fourth timing or an alternative, a transition. And that's because everybody keeps reacting and learning. So here comes the initial attack. Now this is to draw the screen, the attention, everything over to this. And this is a real threat, by the way. In fact, he might, he's going to juggle this. No, he's not doing any more weapons just yet. But he might. He might. He has the option to, depending on how the second attack goes. Now, I don't believe the warp prism has been spotted yet. It has now.
Just now, yeah.
And it's going to come up.
Now, the thing is, the first drop, right? The Zealots are dangerous, so it kind of like pulls your attention, but it looks like Solar's very ready. This is not the first time we've seen this build, so obviously it's going to go down a little bit in efficacy, but...
It would seem to me like this is a strategy that can't stay in the meta for long, at least not at the highest level, right? Because it seems like this is one that you slap out of their hands, and they don't get to do that much more with it.
You know, because it's a quick charge... Yeah, well, the thing is there's not that many gates, right? So
it seems like the other thing as well is that the momentum of the attack it goes away. They've made the units. You know, when you do pressure like this to Zerg, you want it to come out at a kind of crazy rate. Now he goes into Archon harass, which is totally good. And that was in the main there. Now there's another. I guess I don't know what's going on with this one. Okay, so he just loses that.
That's not good.
The wind is out of the sails here as far as the rush goes for Zest. I think right now Solar is in complete control of this game.
Yeah, this is definitely not a good situation. You got to use the force field there, yeah. Like, to lose that Prism and those Zods doing nothing, he's already taken a lot of damage on this Immortal. There's no third base. This feels pretty all in at this point. Like, is he just going to have to go? Yeah, look at this. He's adding 3 gateways right now. He doesn't have a third Nexus. I mean, I guess you can throw down a third Nexus and just hope your opponent just keeps making roaches and you can just, like, kill roaches to get ahead.
Right.
You ever see games like that? It's like your opponent just keeps throwing roaches into your Immortals. And you're like, all right.
You're like, this is great.
This is a game again.
I don't know if Solar's going to do that. Solar's usually pretty precise with how he plays. Fourth base being taken. Now, there are Hydras in production. He did squeeze out a few more drones. So Solar really trying to assert a little bit more economic dominance. He's aware that, you know, Zest may keep trying to throw haymakers in here.
Well, with the Hydras coming out, this is becoming really difficult for me to imagine any way that Zest can end up taking this, because the first big attack that occurs, like, he has to buy a lot of time with this Warp Prism, basically. There's no splash damage out. Okay, we don't count Archons as splash when you're against Roach Hydra. Like, you need some legit splash.
Well, the amount of damage the Archons are eating once you get to a Roach Hydra.
Yeah, they
it's actually the Archon that's eating the damage before the first shot is coming out with Hydras.
Exactly. And, you know, you look at this type of army that Solar's making, it's going to be ridiculously strong. Like, you know, when you see, like, Roach Hydra, if you have a lot of splash damage, you can make it look kind of stupid. And it's like, well, why does Zerg even have these units? You know, you have a bunch of Psy Storms or something in there and enough Immortals and Force Fields that you just kind of control the engagement. But, like, he's coming up here. The Force Fields might allow him to get a hatchery pickoff. We'll see. But there are Ravagers mixed in as well.
Okay, hold up. This angle could be good, especially with the Force Fields.
Yeah.
Okay, shaves off a little bit there. That might not be enough.
Very quick Vials.
Remember, the Sentries, you have this limited amount of mana. The Ravagers, as long as you have time on your side, you can keep taking out the Force Fields. But, you know, maybe with some targeted shots. Hold on.
Yeah,
Okay,
good
another
Vials.
dodge back. Every time these Immortals fire on this hatchery, it's almost out. I don't know how many transfuses are readily available here, but transfuses aren't going to save you for that long against Immortal shots.
Certainly right about that. You know, that hatchery is kind of living on borrowed time right now. It seems like he can kill the hatchery, but he's got to be careful here. If he loses too many units, a counterattack can be very deadly. Well, he's actually just trying to win the game here, Zest, it looks like. Is he going to be... I mean, he's not going to be able to, right?
I think he needs to get rid of that Warp Prism for... Well, hold on. There's a second Warp Prism coming in. I think the Hydra count may be too high, though.
Yeah.
The Hydras are just going to be enough that everything is going to die here. GG. And ultimately, Zest burns out in game one. He had... Sorry, go ahead.
He was meaningfully not killing the hatchery there. He was using that as a giant force field.
Yeah.
He was, like, almost threatening it, trying to get Solar to overstep, and so he could pick off more pieces of the army. But I think that Zest very rightfully assessed that situation, as we did, and said, oh, I'm just going to die to a big attack. Like, I've got to get something done right now before these force fields run out. And he wasn't able to. It's an interesting new build. I'm a little bit more inclined to agree with you in saying that I don't know if that build will be around forever. Maybe something that you pull out of your back pocket, but I don't know.
I get it. I get it in a maybe like a best of 5 or a best of 7. I don't know if that's the way you want to play against someone like Solar, who's generally pretty up to date with stuff.
Yeah.
Solar's a guy who does his homework.
Certainly. Look at him. He's got glasses on. He's clearly smart.
Clearly. But look at Zest glasses. I mean, this really is a battle of the glasses, Artosis.
Dude, he has no lenses in those. Come on. Oh my God, Tasteless. I just had the greatest idea in the whole entire world.
Splice.
I like
Solar.
Greatest ideas in the whole entire world.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, hold on. I got to wait till Zest gets on camera. Zest is kind of our stud of the GSL, right? He's like he's the guy that's
he
like
makes
in
us
really
look a
good
little
shape
bit cooler.
All right, take a look at him. Now imagine if Zest, instead of glasses, wore like Horace Grant goggles.
Horace Grant goggles, okay.
Yeah, like you know, like okay, well, you don't know who Horace Grant is. I can see it.
I was just waiting for you to.
He was like back when we were younger, a famous basketball player. It's like the goggles that you wear that are like strapped to your head with a sports strap because you play a sport.
I actually do know what you're talking about. Yes. Okay.
Right. So if it's like if you need glasses, right, and you play something like basketball, you can't just wear glasses. Obviously, they'll just break. So they're like they're like goggles. And they just kind of look goofy. But imagine if Zest was wearing those goggles playing
I'm waiting for the moment when we're all wearing fashion goggles.
Fashion goggles.
It's gonna
and not the ones that
happen.
are like up on your head like an anime character either. No, we're just wearing
No.
them.
You're just wearing them all the time.
Like they protect my eyes.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Alex 007.
Big fan. Well, anyways. Here we are.
There's a game that didn't quite stand the test of time. Was the Nintendo 64 007 game.
That was
a great game.
System that didn't withstand the test of time. That initial 3D graphics are
It's
pretty
hard
to
to
look
watch
at.
with frame rates and stuff.
Well,
excellent game though.
Well, even just the graphics though, it's like, oh my god, it looked so good when it came out, and now it's so bad.
Oh, I remember when that game came out. And I went to my friend's house because I didn't have a Nintendo 64 right away, and I'm like, oh, it's over. I'm like, we made it, boys.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just we're finally here. This is basically like real life.
I think it was Christmas or something. Like my brother's grandpa got him the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
And we were like, like it was unexpected, you know? Like we always got consoles late in my family.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking
it's
about.
Like I had a Genesis first and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm that kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we plugged it in, started playing GoldenEye, we're like, oh my god, like this is so crazy. I can't even believe this.
And then the Zelda game came out, Ocarina of Time, and there were just tears coming down. It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. We made it.
Happy times. Phoenix being made immediately here to clear the Overlord.
Yeah, right out of the gate. It seems like, at least so far, and I know it's only game 2 of these guys playing, but Zest very big on keeping any intel out of his base right away. Seems to want to react a little bit later on. Do you ever have a friend whose house you'd go over to when you were little who had all the consoles and the parents were just, they were like never really there, so it was basically like a total decadence, like they'd let you stay up as late as you wanted and they always had soda in the fridge and stuff?
It was something like that. Like he had fruit roll-ups.
Yes.
And he also had the SNES power rifle. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lived next door. He was great. Yeah.
That was, you needed one of those
I had a lot
friends.
of fun over there.
Yeah. Let's all remember those friends, the ones that had the consoles that we didn't have, or maybe you were one of those people. You're listening to this, you're like, that was me, that was my family. Well, you're a good person.
Definitely a good person.
Yeah.
Getting to eat fruit roll-ups and play all the new games.
That's
oh,
right.
Yeah.
And
Like,
sharing that
whoa,
experience.
Chrono Trigger, whoa.
Whoa. Are you sure it's 1 a.m.? We don't have to go to bed.
Oh, do you see this?
I see
Do you
it
see what I
now.
see? A second Stargate.
Yeah.
What year is it? That's crazy.
This
Like
looks
we
like
haven't
all these
seen
ASL builds we're seeing in StarCraft 1. We're like, huh, 2 Stargates against a Zerg.
But it's
What
like
if he starts making Corsairs out of there, and we're like, oh my god, that's a unit in the game?
I think he's just going to go 2 Stargate Phoenix from here.
I think so.
Which I mean is
Yep, there it is.
Especially if you ask Rotterdam, this is the best
This is
build in
it.
the game.
He's
but
been watching Roddy's stream.
yeah, this is really interesting to see though, because this has not been in fashion forever. It's been so long since we've seen a top-level pro really utilize something like this, other than very occasional games. So, yeah, this is kind of neat.
Now, stuff like this, you probably can't bring out more than once in this matchup. Maybe in a whole season. We'll see, though. We'll see if it actually has more viability.
Yeah, I mean, once upon a time, stuff like this was almost standard. So, especially in this meta where you're always seeing roaches first. Like, look, he's just making 8 roaches, right? How do you think roaches, like 8 roaches against 8 Phoenix, who wins? Well, the roaches just barely, but
I was going to say the roaches can't attack air, but you know, on some level they're beefy enough that they might be able to do a little bit more before the Phoenixes do.
Look at that.
Look
he
at this.
Canceled the spores. Now he's got a double spore.
First Phoenix comes in. A pickup here on this roach. You can really see how long it takes to kill a roach in the air with Phoenixes. Now the real threat though is the Phoenixes taking out drones or overlords.
Yeah, picking off a few so far. As long as you're not losing a ton of Phoenixes, you're going to be in pretty good shape here.
In theory, you don't want to be trading here anything more than shields, I guess. Now, the response is to send the roaches northbound and start hitting the third base. Now, I don't know exactly how this pairing goes because this is still a lot of queens up in the air. He is picking the queens with the transfuse energy.
Now there's another transfuse there. He actually definitely made a bit of a mistake right there.
Okay, this is going to be bad. Now, the problem is that on some level, the Zerg's okay losing queens because the Roaches are coming up here and doing much more substantial damage because the Roaches can probably win position. The Phoenixes are taking out a few units. Now, there's this Oracle here. There's Phoenixes headed back up.
He's going to lift one up, and with the Phoenixes coming up, he does clear this all. But, you know, this definitely bought Solar a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Double Robo coming up right now. So this is very cool to see, right? With Hydra on the way, the double Robo, do you go for splash damage with this, or do you just start making Mass Immortal? Because I could see him going into something like he could go Disruptor, he could go Colossus even. That's definitely reasonable, especially when you have this many Phoenixes. Your opponent can't counter with Corruptors very easily, right? Like if you just go blind into that, people can make Mass Corruptor and just kill it.
But look at this, he's getting just the right engages on these Hydras. Yeah. He can pick them up before the Hydras have got in a critical mass where they can just start firing back and the damage seesaws back into the Zerg's favor.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. I mean, Solar actually can't really move out now. And, you know, again, these Phoenixes can keep moving around on the map. At this point in time, they're nimble enough. He can try to come in here and take out workers. It's very important Solar keeps the Hydras in a big enough group together that they can always fight the Phoenixes, but they have to be in the right position, because if they're out position, the Phoenixes just go and kill drones.
This is really cool to see Zest bust out something like this. And the fact that he's sitting here making a bunch of Immortals, he's getting charged. Well, he made 2 Immortals, now he's stopped. Okay, there he goes. He goes back into it. He's getting charge and +1. Obviously, Charge Lot's going to help out quite a bit here. We don't see any big rush into more Roaches, and we don't see any Baneling Nests. So those are 2 things that could definitely help out against the Charge Lots.
When you watch Zest do this, it almost makes you wonder why we don't see this more often. I mean, you can see why it was viable at a point in time. Zerg is constantly having to answer and respond to the threat of the Phoenixes. The Phoenixes can roam pretty freely. I mean, I would say there's not really a unit that's easier to control for in and out situations than a Phoenix. It's always going to get its shots off, you know. If you outposition them, you will get your pickups, you will get the damage off.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenixes can be absolutely fantastic. You're missing a lot of DPS, you're missing a lot of ground presence with them. So there are issues for sure, but they allow you to play in some different ways too. Like if you have this many Phoenixes, you literally don't need to worry about Spire units until Greater Spire.
Very true.
You know, there's definitely some things to be said. You can keep your opponent on his side of the map. Your splash damage, though, of course, is always going to be a lot later, so you have to hit things like, for instance, you know, he cleared a bunch of Roaches, he cleared a bunch of Queens, and then he killed all those Hydras with that fly down, right? These are all important parts that are buying him time. But right now, Solar going into the Spire, going into the Hive, so definitely Broodlords are going to be something he's thinking about in the future here.
But again, another big pickup on these drones. If Solar doesn't respect the threat of the Phoenixes, then he's not going to be able to mine easily from this 4th base. And when you really look at it, it's funny because as you were saying, like, there is not as much burst output damage here for Zest back at home, but he doesn't have to rely on it, because if Solar were to commit to an attack, the Phoenixes are going to kill all the workers, and then as long as Zest can really hunker down and try to defend, he can be okay. And I mean, Solar doesn't want to play that kind of game. Now we see a push from Zest, and this is going to try to deny the direct highway that's been set up.
Well, I think this is north. This is an awesome move from Zest to move out right now. It looks like he's actually turning around. I like the idea, though, of an attack coming up pretty quickly from here, because I think one of the things that are probably a weakness for these Phoenix-based plays, and now the thing is we don't see many plays that are like what we've seen here, but when you get up to an actual deathfall, Phoenixes no longer do anything, right? Like Hive Tech, Phoenixes don't do anything against Hive Tech. Broodlords, like, they don't really damage Broodlords quickly enough. Obviously, you know, Ultralisks, they don't lift up Ultras. There's all sorts of things you can do with that Hive Tech.
Wow, okay, not bad at all.
Yeah, a little bit of indecision there by Solar.
Yeah, you have to really do your damage quite quickly there. But Solar does have Hydra Bane out now. That could be really scary. There is Storm available here. Sometimes that's the best answer. If you can blanket those storms correctly, then everything else sort of fires down on the bruised units. Yeah. And ultimately you just come out way on top as the dust settles.
And the double prism out right now. I mean, there's definitely some really good things going on here for Zest, but as this Greater Spire finishes, if he morphs a bunch of Broodlords and goes, then Zest has to make him pull back with the prisms, because the actual army Zest has right now is going to be completely countered if there's Broodlords involved. It's like he just doesn't have anything that does anything against Broodlords. And this is so often something that we are seeing in PvZ for the last months, is that there's a moment when Broodlords pop out, and that's the danger moment, where it's like you just don't really have anything against Broodlords. There's always this little bit of lag time. You almost, unless the Protoss is super far ahead, you generally don't see any carriers or Tempests out when those Broodlords are done.
That's
so
very
if he
true.
hits right now, and the thing is, it can be hard to know this, but like if he were to hit right this second, I feel like you could get something done, but you know, he's flying back, he's not.
If you notice though, Zest is not being ambitious expansion-wise. If Solar's going to push, he has to really commit. He's going to be far out on the map. We saw earlier on Zest push through the middle of the Creep Highway. I mean, there is...
It's a good point.
And so, you know, maybe Zest is okay with this. Now we see that expansion immediately denied. But, you know, from here, I think Zest can try to stay back for a little bit.
Zest can?
Well, I think he needs to stay as far back from this as he can. I think you want this army as far off from the creep as humanly possible.
Sending in some Zealots for a bit of harass. The army of Solar is still kind of poking at the front. There's 3 Tempests out already. I don't believe there's a Mothership yet. Yeah, not quite. But with 3 Tempests, you can definitely start to kill off these Broodlords. There's no Vipers or anything.
Okay, so he's going for the weaker position here for Zest. But at the same time, he can flank that pretty easily. I was going to say there's not much to defend there, but I guess if you do try to commit there. And you can see if you overextend when you're off the creep, then these Tempest shots are going to connect quite nicely. Now, I will say, this many Immortals on the ground doesn't let you push through Broodlords very easily. But even now, Zest is beginning to do that. And he needs these Tempests to connect on top of the Broodlords.
Yeah, he definitely needs to pick those off right there. The Ling Hydra Bane kind of turning around, hemming and hawing a little bit. And of course, those Phoenixes holding back the Corruptors. But that's basically all the anti-air since he killed off the Archons.
So the Phoenixes are coming in. Now the Corruptors are trying to come in here to help out. And these storms are absolutely beautiful. But Zest's army is getting thinned out. The supplies really tell it all. It's just Tempest, and the Tempest can't contest with all these Lings, all these Hydras on the ground. They have to fight the Corruptors first. And it seems like the ground army is big enough and a large enough of a distraction. The Corruptors chasing away these Tempests. The same problem the Broodlords have if they overextend is true for the Tempests as well. The Tempests are being picked off. And it would seem like now Solar has map control. He's got superior tech. He has the option of taking the remainder of the expansions on his side of the map and also possibly just doing a full-on push through, cleaning it up with an army comp he had earlier, Hydra Bane.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect way to play this right now. Don't get overly fancy. If you cleared out the actual basis of Zest's army, he no longer can deal with Ling Bane Hydra.
Right.
You need an actually pretty complex army as Protoss to kill that.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer to set this up. He's going to melt down the Nexus, and there's no real easy answer to this. There's another attack coming up. I believe it's just a screenshot away. Nope, we're not going to see it. We're going to watch that instead. GG. So Solar does it, 2-0.
Yeah, strong play out of Solar. I feel like that second game, Zest did a lot of things really coolly and did a good job as well, but maybe overcommitting on the attack slightly. Like, his army was quite good for a bit. I feel like he had a moment where he might have been able to attack earlier on before the Broodlords. Maybe he didn't have the right reconnaissance to, or maybe he didn't feel that he wanted to attack on the creep like you were talking about. And then, yeah, I don't know. When he actually did attack, though, I felt like that was a little bit weird, right? He has a mostly Immortal-based army at that point.
It was a little bit strange. We go to the winner's match after this short break, Solar versus Maru, to see who our first survivor is to move on to the round of 8 in the GSL.
saw your smile from across the room. I could be wrong, but you know it's true. And I'll stop if you want me to. But if you like it, lay these cards out across the floor. You draw me in, leave me wanting more. I'll play your game if you keep the score. But if you like it, I don't wanna be hasty, babe. I feel like you've been tied to me. I'm trying to be on my best behavior, but I know that we've got to leave. We could turn the lights down for the night, cover up the stars to hide this light. Only for the night, just one more time. We could turn the lights down, baby, the lights down. We could turn the lights down for the night, cover up the stars to hide this light. Only for the night, just one more time. We could turn the lights down, baby, the lights down. Say that you're doing fine, but out of place and out of my mind. But who am I to criticize? If you like it, then you like it. I don't wanna be hasty, babe. I feel like you've been tied to me. I'm trying to be on my best behavior, but I know that we've got to leave. We could turn the lights down for the night, cover up the stars to hide this light. Only for the night, just one more time. We could turn the lights down, baby, the lights down. We could turn the lights down for the night, cover up the stars to hide this light.
Heart, don't fail me now, even though the light is fading. When the world is burning down, falling apart as I'm breaking. So wake me now from these clouds, storm in my head. You were like a ray of gold in a night so cold. I need you again. So I close my eyelids, shut out the violence, here in the silence. You're my horizon. When I'm falling, I see you rising, here in the silence. You're my horizon. You're my
아프리카 TV에는 당신이 아는 것보다 다양한 인정이 살고 있죠. 말 많은 인정, 발 빠른 인정, 잘 먹는 인정, 영리한 인정, 친절한 인정까지. 모든 게 컨텐츠가 되고 누구나 주인공이 되는 세상. 알고 보면 멋진 세상.
Are you free? Africa TV.
Overgrowth. GSL Season 2, Codes, Overgrowth.
So we've got 16 players. We're going to narrow it down to 8. Whoever wins this first winner's match of the round of 16 is going to be the first player to get into that coveted top 8 spot in the GSL Codes. And Solar versus Maru, look, I think everybody is expecting it to be Maru, but I think Solar has a very, very good chance of pulling it off.
Yeah, it's definitely a reasonable chance. You know, the game has been changed quite a bit. The Marauder is more powerful right now.
Yeah.
But the Raven is vastly, vastly nerfed. Like, you can't just go mass Ravens, but Maru doesn't rely only upon that. We even saw him going for Marine Marauder against Hydroling Bane against Sue, who is a better macro Zerg than Solar. So, you know, when I think about that and the fact that the Marauder is even better, I'm like, I think Maru's still going to be fine. But because the late game is going to look so drastically different, you're not just going to see anti-armor missiles blowing up entire armies anymore. That gives Solar a real endgame here that he could beat Maru in. This is exciting.
It really is. By the way, our game's loaded up. It's going to be on the map Catalyst. Let's go.
Fight. Splice. Solar.
You know, Solar had a really commanding game against Zest. Yep. I don't know if he will have a similar situation. I think Zest played a little bit wonky, maybe not the best way to approach the round of 16.
Jin Air Green Wings. Maru.
And especially when you factor in the fact that Maru is overall pretty bulletproof right now.
He seems that way, although Patience did bring him to his limits.
That's right.
Let's be fair. Patience did a great job against him.
But he's got, like, Wolverine DNA.
He does.
You know, like, he might get beat up in game 2, but then all of his wounds heal. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, that's an OP mutant power.
It's a pretty good one.
And then he's got the claws, which, by the way, before you guys tweeted me, I know that's not a mutant power.
The claws?
The claws are not. No, his bones were changed. But that was also a little bit OP as well.
No, the claws are part of his mutant power.
No,
it's regeneration and claws.
No. He was able to regenerate, but the only way they installed special adamantium bones, I believe, into his body.
No, he had bones that came out, and they put adamantium over them. The adamantium skeleton is not part of the mutant power.
That's what
the
I
fact
meant.
that he lives through having that in him is part of the mutant power, but he had the claws before.
Huh.
He had bone
I always
claws
thought the
before.
bone claws were part of the skeleton. That came with someone. Now,
No.
Okay,
they're
now
not.
I do need people
but
to
they
tweet
did.
at us.
Well, you don't because I just told you.
No, I will always go to Twitter for this, Artosis.
You believe Twitter over me?
Most of the time, yeah.
Well, jeez.
But anyways, Maru's somebody
You can do
who
whatever you want with those alternative facts, Stacey.
Maru's someone who's pretty good at recovering. I mean, even in a lot of these games, like we saw Patience get in there, do so much damage. Patience was close to taking out the heart of Maru's base, but Maru handled it very well. Now, this is interesting. We have a
barracks?
Yeah.
That's not what I expected to see. Like,
especially with the factory nearing being done. I thought
why?
I thought maybe a starport or something.
Yeah, no, I was like, okay, I guess proxy liberator or banshee.
So watch the Overlord that's at the mini map close to the barracks, but it doesn't go further. It never seems to scout further than that. From the games that I can recall, that we've seen here. So maybe this is all set up to push the third base. You know, sometimes with Zerg you have maybe like 15 or 20% more than they expect, and that's enough to tip the scale in their favor.
Yeah, you know, you have 4 or 5 extra Marines. I can see that.
Now, this SCV is from a very suspicious angle.
Yeah, he should be going over there to scout right
He
now.
might not be saying, hey, that's... What? Okay.
Oh, that's what he's doing. He's doing a very bizarre little
Bunker
push. Yeah. And the fact that he's bringing out Hellions and getting an armory tells us that this should go up easily, right?
Yeah, well, the Ling needs to take out that SCV.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Now, hold on. The Hellions are here. The SCV is alive.
That bunker's not going up. Maru is maybe getting a little bit too fancy for himself.
Hold on a second. How much energy do those queens have right now?
Not transfusion levels.
Yeah, not transfusion level, right?
Which means Hellbats just kill him straight up.
Yeah, and I think if he can actually... Oh, that was good. Bouncing that queen towards him. Now, there's more Lings coming here, but it's 3 Hellbats, so the Marine needs to get inside.
Yeah, look at him trying to target that Marine down. That was actually very nice to kill one of them. And that reaches. So...
Yeah. Now, can he get the next Marine over here?
I mean, is this going to work?
I don't know. You know what's funny about it is that with the bunker covering the Hellbats, the SCV can do a little fixer-upper there. Okay.
Well, you target the SCV first, I would say. Come on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there you
that's
go.
exactly what he does. Now, he needs to get rid of that other Hellbat.
I mean, okay, it doesn't work, but does it still work? Like, did he force enough out of Solar here? As far as Lings go?
You have to wonder in practice,
I don't think so.
Is this more to slow the Zerg down than it is to kill the hatchery? I guess ideally you want to kill the hatch. I don't feel like this is good for Maru.
I don't either.
I don't.
That's my gut.
I mean, we don't get to see this done a lot.
Never seen that.
In GSL. You know, there's a lot of different ways to play StarCraft, and some of them work at certain tiers or in certain moments where the map may be this popular or this new. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, with Artosis and me, unless we're casting a WCS event overseas, which is obviously insanely high skill, we're casting GSL Code S games. So we haven't seen this specifically tried out in a game we've gotten to cast. So this is kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it was a really neat thing. If the bunker had finished more quickly and he hadn't lost any of the Marines, he gets 4 Marines in there, maybe things go a lot different, right? He had to fight very early on. The SCV got really low health early on and stuff. So definitely some things went wrong, and I will withhold judgment slightly. I don't know if we'll ever see it again, though.
But now I feel almost like Maru feels compelled to keep trying to shove his way through here. Okay, now that's not bad. The one Hellion just roasting drones.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for the drones to run back if the Hellions are still here. But, you know, with the Queens and the Roaches, you can kind of... You just outrange them, right? I mean, they're taking too many shots. There's so much creep here. You can keep skirting back.
Solar's truly deflected everything, and he's going into what I deem to be a very good build for where he's at in this game. Wow, what a sick pickoff right there.
Damn.
But
down to 1 Banshee.
Look at this, right? He's going into Roaches. He's deflected everything for a long time. This is a 3rd command center. He's made a lot of Hellions. One of his barracks were out on the map, right? So when you put this all together, Maru doesn't really have a ton of units. If Solar wants to go for one of these massive Roach attacks with his 1-1, like something like that I could see barreling through, but Maru is starting to siege tanks, to be fair, so we'll see about that. But yeah, I don't know. So far, though, I think that Solar has just played really well.
Well, Solar is just... His attacks are running off him like water in a duck's back. I mean, it's just nothing is phasing him. He's continuing to grow. As the third CC lands, it looks like the fourth hatchery goes down. Tempo looking really good here for Solar. Now Stim finishes, but normally when Stim finishes for Terran in this matchup, that's when we see them initiate. I don't think we're going to see Terran try to initiate on the ground for a while. I mean, the units that were invested in for Maru, they had their moment in the game, and they didn't seem to do enough to really sandbag Solar out of the game. So kind of an odd spot here for Maru. Now that being said, Maru does have Wolverine DNA. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and he is going to try to push out here. Now this is something that should be stoppable from Solar if he's in the right spot, but he's got Hellions over here to try to draw attention away, and it seems like it's worked. So is he going to get a free snipe over here?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, you know what? That was brilliant.
Good stuff.
If you outposition him, that's all you got to do.
Yeah. Well, Maru does that a lot of the time, especially against Roach-based play. There are mutas out now, though, which is kind of an interesting little twist on this. So it's not like just the super mass Roach type of play. A Baneling Nest on the way, and the fact that he's switching to melee upgrades isn't too surprising. I wonder if he's going to rush up into Hive from here, though. Seems like the muta's not going to find too much damage.
Okay, so they go ahead and fly back.
The only damage they'll really find is upon themselves, Stasis.
Yeah. The Overlords here. Synchronized swimming. They fan out.
Not winning a medal for that one,
No,
though.
unfortunately not. And Maru is hunkering down. Now, Solar has got a much scarier growth rate. The Young comes a little bit better. I think Maru's treating it as such. He's walled off the left side where his third base is. He's got a nice spread with his tanks. He's got the Hellbats at a good spot. But right now, this seems to be Solar's map.
Yeah. So far this game, like Solar's deflected a lot of things. We've seen back in style a lot of these massive Roach pushes. But the way he's been going about his upgrades and not overmaking Roaches, it feels like it should be an Ultralisk rush. But he's made a bunch of mutas, which he's trying to harass with, but maybe this is just drop protection. I don't know. It's a very interesting game, though.
I think it's drop protection.
It seems that way.
It seems like if Maru flies out and Solar gobbles up the medevac, it's like, okay, good. You're that much further from maxing out.
Yeah.
These mutas might not have a lot of equity later on, but they are stalling Maru out. And Solar is really shifting gears into a pretty incredible macro game. I mean, if I'm Solar, I'm taking my 5th base. Now, it doesn't seem like Terran can truly contest this with a direct push, like with actual combat. Granted, Maru did clip that base off at the upper right, that 4th base, which Solar's already restarted and is mining from. I think Solar's really, tempo-wise, handling this game pretty brilliantly. But,
I mean,
with all that analysis, I mean, Maru does have Wolverine blood, so I mean, you don't actually know,
Now he has giant robotic Wolverines in his army, so whatever.
Just imagine if those Thors had claws come out when, melee attackers come.
Well,
Okay.
He's doing quite a large push. There's a strong army out right now, though, for Solar. A decent amount of speed banes here. Maru, of course, will get into a very good position. This is a thin area. What an interesting game here. Pretty even as far as upgrades go. Maru is about to finish that +2 armor.
This is pretty crafty. He's sending these Roaches down here. The Roaches don't have a lot of utility in trying to fight an army in an enclosed area like where Maru is in control of. So he's going to take down these rocks. And I guess he's going to see if he can't interrupt the, especially with the mutas here, just interrupt reinforcements from coming here. Now, the Maru wants to get, okay, hold up.
Ooh, this is a good engagement for Maru, no doubt. That spread, that push, really, really strong. The counterattack, though.
The counterattack is pretty sick because he's going to take out pretty much all these reinforcements. But I feel like Maru might just have enough
I think Solar has to give that up, though, that base. If he just wastes
hold on. He's actually got enough mutas here. Look at this. Actually, the damage from Maru... no, maybe you're right. This is a tough one to call.
Yeah, okay, he's finally going to give it up. I feel like he was a little bit cost inefficient there. Could have made that call a little bit earlier, but definitely his counterattack is getting a pretty comparable amount of damage done so far.
The thing is that Maru, until the Thor is out, Maru couldn't get any more reinforcements out. Like, Marine's coming out there, they're always going to lose that fight, but, a lot of SCVs killed. oddly enough, you know, normally when that happens and Zerg does a counter like that, it allows the Zerg's main army to engulf the Terran's main army, because Terran are very reliant on reinforcements. But Maru's position was so good that he sent it back, and I think he's going to macro up and rinse and repeat. And I guess when it's said and done, at least for that engagement, Solar's going to have to try to set up another 5th base. We see it over here on the far left. I think that's the only natural location to try to take.
Yeah.
After being denied that that spot down there. But maybe Solar can still make this work, because counterattacks are going to be in his favor. That being said, Maru does have a 4th base and a point where you can really easily push from.
Yeah.
A lot to break down in this game, really.
There truly is, too. And I think the upgrades are something we definitely need to mention here, because +3 carapace is on the way for Solar, but 3-2 is going to finish before that, or 3-3 rather, for Maru before that. And that's going to make a big difference with the new Marauder, right? The single attack, the armor is not going to be as strong for Zerg, and he's going into Ultras, so, you know, as strong as Ultras felt, they're not going to feel quite as strong against this army.
You know, Solar had a really unique way of handling this game. I'm worried that he might have zoned himself out of a win, though. It seems like Maru's completely stable. This is an easier part of the game for Terran to play from. When the 4th base is secured, and Zerg's trying to take these bases that are close to the center, these 3 bases, the only ones that are really available to him.
And he's going into Ghosts, but let's not forget, like, if this game, like, if they kind of equalize each other a little bit and he gets into something like Mass Broodlords, you no longer have the Seeker missiles, right? Or the
Very true.
Anti-armor missiles, whatever we're calling them right now. I don't know. I'm kind of excited that we're getting into this later part of the game, but when I look at the army from Solar, I realize that the game can be decided very quickly as well. Like, if this army just goes poof, he's going to be in real trouble. He is not going to remax easily.
Okay, that's, okay.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So then, no damage really done there. The Banelings are going to come in. Now, you know, I want to be hyped for this. I don't know if this is as impactful, though. This Link counterattack is huge. Yes. I think this is going to be driven out. There's no more Banelings with this. He slowly pushes this away.
He's going to kill that drop. He lost a base, so he went down to 4 bases himself, but Maru's on 4 bases. Maru's got the extra command center.
I don't think Solar has enough answers here. Now, as you were saying, Artosis, if you know, we see Solar's army get completely wiped out, really actually on either side, if we see an army get wiped out, it should be too hard to crawl your way back out of that hole.
The banks are very small.
Yeah.
Definitely this is a very different game. They haven't just been sitting there like we've seen in a lot of previous TVZs, you know, where both sides just sit and they both get, you know, 7K, 8K. and then we start seeing them poke each other with spells mostly. This has been much more battle-oriented, a lot more counterattacks and whatnot. So definitely a different beast this game than what we've been used to recently. Tons of upgrades done both sides. Well, look how many Banelings there actually are.
A lot of tension here in the middle. You can see Solar wants to, he's tried to draw a lot of attention to the bottom center, but he wants to actually come in here and pounce on this location where Maru's defending. I don't know if he can pull that off. It seems like the tanks are pretty well spread out. Here we go. Let's see how the Banelings connect.
Oh, that is a ridiculous amount of Banelings.
Yeah, the spread is very good, though.
Yeah, the siege tanks are insane here.
Yeah, in fact, I think actually Zerg, well, hold on, he actually gets the command center.
Yeah.
He snipes the Ultras, and that's a lot of gas that went away, by the way. Even though he got rid of the command center, that's a mineral cost that Maru can remake.
Yeah.
The gas that is no longer able to be used economically because it's all gone, it's not in this. This might allow the game to seesaw back over to where Maru can push.
Well,
even though he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have a lot, but I think this might actually work.
Yeah, it definitely could. He's got a very good setup here. The resupply here from Solar, a lot of Lings, some Banes, a couple Ultras.
And Lings might be the most important thing he has right now.
Yeah.
He needs to really come in here and have so many of those Lings with a fire drawn on them that maybe the Banelings can come in here and cop this army.
Definitely a good amount of transfusions here as well. The Lings coming in. All the Corruptors coming to kill off the Liberators. That's definitely very good. That Viper doesn't actually end up casting any spells, so definitely a bit of a mistake there. Oh, man, the Ghost starting to have some value.
Okay, barely he mops that up, but there are still some Ghosts left here. Yeah. Now, the Ghosts are not going to be great against a ton of Lings, but he could start to just chip away at this.
Did you do the original ghost sound effect?
Yeah. I thought I was better put here, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Or fortunately, I don't know.
I'm glad they kept your voice acting for the snipe.
Oh, that's good. So, Maru now has the bottom left, so that's his 5th. Both these guys are actually pretty low on minerals. The gases are, I mean, they're not super high, but they're high compared to the mineral count. But the 2 players in this game can't really produce that much. And Solar now has these 2 exterior bases. I don't know where the minerals are at for the middle center, but
for Maru, they're definitely lower than Solar. He's lost that base a lot.
Yep, I'll touch on this in a second. So the hatchery goes down. What I wanted to bring up was that, especially on this map, that Zergs can end up mining out if the game goes on for too long. Terrans just need to trade effectively.
You know, it's funny that you say that, and that's what we've been seeing, but this game, Maru's killed bases so many times.
Yes. That's the second thing I wanted to say is that what we would normally expect from a game where the maps cut in half, it might look a little bit different because Solar's actually not really got to get as many of the fruit, get a lot of the benefits from these extra bases.
Well, is this a byproduct of the patch and you can't just mass spellcasters? I wonder.
It could be.
It feels like it partially, at least.
And also keep in mind that Maru has not been mining from this base right there for that long. So and we have to assume, just from everything we know about StarCraft 2, that should be a base he can hold if he's attentive. He might need to get a sensor tower tucked over further to the left.
Yeah.
So it seems like Maru's going to have an income for a long time. That Zerg, unless Zerg really beats down on that bottom left base, or let's say Maru neglects it, it could go either way, or a combination of the 2. It seems like Maru has a lot of income because he took a tougher base to hold in the center, lower center in this case for him.
You know, right now we're seeing quite a few Infestors and Broodlords come out. There are some nukes, there's some Vikings on the way, another Starport, but this composition that we're seeing out of Solar has been countered recently with Raven Ghosts. Now, if we see any Ravens, it's going to be 1 to 2, right? Anti-armor missile, obviously still very good. You know, get your Vikings to do more damage. But it's not going to look like it used to. Okay, and this is actually exactly what I was going to bring up. See how there's 4 missile turrets into production?
Yes.
The last time that we had this type of unit set, like a Broodlord Infestor type set being used against Terran where Ravens weren't the counter, it was the only player that was doing well against that really was TY, and he would use Liberator, Widowmine, Ghost, Turret against it. And he just kind of continually repositioned, continually sniped, and did that type of thing. I wonder if that's what we're going to see try to come out from Maru here, because like his late game's gotten so good at this point, I imagine he can play with that type of thing, and with the amount of missile turrets he's making, it feels like that's what we're going to see.
I think you might be right. You know, it's crazy. We had both players go down to about like 115, 120 supply.
Yeah. For a long time.
Yeah, and it was a scrappy game from there. They're both rapidly approaching maxing out. And, you know, we were talking about resource distribution. It does seem like Maru maxed out first and has some spare change.
Yeah.
And so this might make it tough because I think now is going to be the opportunity for Maru to poke in first, and he can replenish his army. In fact, this base goes down completely uncontested. The army slept in here for this. Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah, definitely some good moves there, but the EMP on the Infestors will make it so some of the units get away.
Yeah, crazy. It looked like that was just right-clicked over there.
Yeah.
Instead of A-clicked. So he lost a chunk of that army was bit off there by Solar, but, you know, the expansion's down. Okay, now you have to imagine he's going to check here, right?
Well, I would certainly hope so.
Okay. And so, you know, it's no biggie for the hatchery to take some damage. And the drones are going to go back, but I'm worried that Maru is locking up parts of the map. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Damn. For free, too. And
That's
look at this.
so crazy.
I think the Marauders are going to come up here and try to gun down the hatchery. Okay,
not quite.
He decides otherwise.
It's a good try.
Yeah, I get it.
The effort was there. The amount of times he's denied these bases from Solar is actually insane. And it's also very interesting because, again, you know, the more I'm watching this game, the more I'm enjoying this new patch. You know, they just, like, in this position on the previous patch with the Seeker missiles, like Maru would have a whole bunch of Ravens, and we'd look at this and be like, oh, you're down 10 supply, you don't have a bank solar, you're dead. But here it's like, I don't know, let's see. You know, let's see how this goes down. You can't deal with this so easily anymore.
And look at this, he's even going to come up here. Not that this is the most important expansion, but it's something you can probably get for free. Remember all those corruptors that were hit earlier on? I think this army could easily boost out of here if it really had to.
Yeah.
GG.
Okay.
That's it. Maru did it. Maru took game 1.
Yeah.
Once again, reasserting his dominance as maybe the best modern late game Terran player that we have.
I think you have to give that to him right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he and TY are the only ones you can even discuss for that late game Terran play. And Maru gets there more often because his early game is better. So I don't know. This was a very cool game though. Like Maru all over the place all game long, heavily using Marauders here. I feel like maybe where he really did well was, remember that huge Baneling attack that killed one of Maru's bases, but he used up so much gas for it, and then the counterattack? Like, Maru was so efficient on both those trades considering what was going down. You know, when you use an army that's mostly Banelings, you have to get so much done. Even though it looks like a lot got done, the amount of army you spent there, it's like Solar never really maxed out after that.
Really cool from mid-game to late game. Actually, even the way Maru opened up was interesting. I don't know. Very exciting match. Let's go to game 2 on Acid Plant.
Splice, Solar.
I thought he looked actually really good that game too, to be honest. The heavy Baneling comp didn't work out, but his early game was great, the defense.
Jin Air Green Wings, Maru.
And, you know, normally I'd say something about Maru here, but I just expand off by the way Solar played that. I think he had a really unique response in the mid-game to try to control that. It just didn't quite seem to work out. Whoa, 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 whoa. I wasn't even looking at the screen until a second ago. Damn.
Yeah.
Get me out of this group.
Well, that's Maru for you, isn't it?
Maru's like, I gotta watch Infinity War later. I gotta get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
I think I left the iron on.
Left the iron on at the Jin Air house?
That's right.
Do you know how to iron things, Stasis?
Do I know? I mean, I could YouTube it, but no, I don't like
Okay.
iron my clothes. You know?
No, me either. I just wondering.
No, I don't.
Okay.
If I get attacked and I'm in a Home Alone situation, I won't be using the irons as defense.
Well, I tell you, I'm better at using an iron as a weapon than to make clothes not have wrinkles.
Yeah,
that's for
right.
sure. Because
Well,
the
you're a
clothes, I might
tactical
burn
guy.
them or something.
Yeah.
But hell, if I burn you, I guess that's a great defensive tool, isn't it?
It's true. Okay, hold on.
Well, Maru is very, very good at this.
This is actually a pretty intelligent move in a best of 3. The fact that he did something aggressive, a lot of players would assume that you'd pull back since it didn't work in game 1. He's doubling down, which could just pull the rug right out from under Solar. Solar doesn't know.
The amount that Solar doesn't know. Look at that.
He doesn't know. He does
Solar's-
now.
Yeah, he's in a lot
But
of trouble.
knowing 30 seconds ago was important.
Yeah. Even if you
Oh,
find
I
the
wanna see it.
barracks, he can still win this, you know? So, like, the fact that the bunker is basically getting up, the hatchery's done for. He's not going to save the hatchery. Where do you go from here? He's getting Zergling speed. A lot of times you see people, like, try to bust out with Ravagers or something. I mean, he can try to run by, I guess.
I think that Maru's going to be ready to pop out.
Yeah. I don't know whether you're even supposed to try here.
Okay.
Oh, he's going to go for it. I guess that's as good a choice as anything, right?
YOLO.
He's got to target SCVs immediately. Okay, he gets one there.
That damage that SCV suffered might...
He needs to target that other SCV so badly.
Okay. He gets in. He gets all the Marines out. He's kiting.
Oh, does he have a transfuse yet? Ah!
That's
he
it,
did
GG.
actually, but oh well, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that? 3 minutes, 15-second game.
Okay. Maru advances first place from the group. Seems like he had an easier time against Solar than against Patience, which is kind of interesting. But actually, Solar is another player he wanted in this group.
That's true. I think strategically he opened up pretty well. Whether it worked or not, for instance, in game 1, I think Solar handled it. You can see him shaking his head, thinking, man, okay, I don't really get to show what I had in game 2.
No.
But, that's part of StarCraft is that you can play around your opponent's play style. You can play around the way game 1 or game 2 went.
Well, you can't play around everything, that's for sure.
Well, Maru can, but I don't know if Solar can, unfortunately. Solar got blindsided and discounted that strategy as a possibility. We'll now go to our interview.
지난 시즌 우승자 조성주 선수입니다. 축하드립니다.
Our first quarter finalist, the last season champion.
Congratulations,
he says. Thank you.
들어볼게요.
Seemed like an easy series for you. How do you feel?
가 좀 힘들었던 것 같은데 이렇게 올라가게 돼서 너무 좋은 것
Every time when I play on the first map, it's always the toughest map. Anyways, I'm really glad I could make it.
이런 생각이 드는데요. 그런 고집을 하시는 이유가 뭔가요?
You love those proxy rack strategies. Tell us about that.
편인데 오늘은 안 들킬 자신이 있어가지고 하게 된 것 같아요.
사실
you have used that build and I have a lot of confidence against my opponent.
많이 또 쓴다 이렇게 이야기하셨잖아요. 귀찮진 않으셨어요?
오늘은 꼭 올라가고 싶어가지고
You always said that when you feel annoyed, when you feel tired, you want to use that. Is that the case here now?
에시드 플랜트에서는
I actually prepared for that this time around.
에시드 플랜트가 아니죠.
I wanted to advance
1세트에서는 그
quickly.
전진병과 벙커링이 잘 막혔었어요. 상대 호수비에. 네. 네. 맨 처음 그 맵에서는 또 잘 상대가 호수비로 막았음에도 불구하고 그 경기를 승리로 이끌었거든요. 네, 그 세트는 어떻게 또 잡을 수가 있었던 것 같으세요?
그래도 상대방이 저글링을 좀 많이 뽑아가지고 저도
basically asking how did you manage to win on that map?
침착하게 따라간 것 같은데.
네.
Since he produced too many Zerglings, I was pretty sure I'd still have a chance to finish the game out. He overreacted.
그 영향이 얼마나 있을까?
So after the balance patch, this is the first official matches that we've had. Anything you want to say?
토스전은 괜찮아진 것 같고 저그전도 울트라를 되게 잘.
I feel that it's much better.
그래서 괜찮은 것 같아요.
I enjoy playing against Protoss more.
좋은 영향이 있는 것 같다.
And I still feel okay against Zerg. So overall,
자, 이렇게
I'm pretty
8강에
pleased.
올라가게 됐고 이번 시즌도 2연속 우승 가능할까요?
맵도 괜찮고.
네.
Gary asked if can you make 2 consecutive championships?
병렬형만.
I think the maps are okay for me. And for Terrence in general,
이병렬 선수 외에 견제가
as long as I don't
되는
face
그런
Rogue, I think
선수는
I'm going to be
없으세요?
okay.
비조 딱 봤을 때 병렬형 말고는 다 괜찮은 것 같아요.
When I look at Group B, I'd say except for Rogue,
이번 시즌
I'm
조성주
pretty
선수의
confident
또
against
한번
anybody.
그 우승 도전 지켜보겠습니다. 마지막으로 팬들에게 한마디 부탁드릴게요.
Any words to your fans?
2연속으로 높이 올라간 적은 처음인 것 같은데 이렇게 올라가게 됐으니까 꼭 다시 한번.
I think this is the very first time I made it to the quarterfinals 2 times in a row.
네, 다시 한번 8강 진출 축하드립니다.
I will do my best to advance.
네, 이렇게 A조의 첫 번째 8강 진출자
Congratulations
조성주
once more.
선수를 만나봤습니다.
Says thank you.
계속해서 GSL 이벤트입니다.
Okay.
먼저 추억군인의
And there we have it. Maru goes up in first place. I think most people expected that, but definitely some good games so far. Our loser match, of course, is going to be Patience against Zest. I think that'll actually be a pretty decent PvP.
Yeah, that's right. I believe we want to mention the jerseys we're giving away. There it is, down at the bottom of our screen. You need to try to get those fast. They will probably run out quite quickly.
Yes.
If you are one of the first 5 people to ask for one, you're probably too late because we already mentioned it probably 2 hours ago or something, 2.5 hours ago. But definitely do that. We need to know your size, or it might not fit you. And do that because that's only going to be going on for a little bit of time. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, it's Patience versus Zest.
If you wonder.
It comes and goes in waves. It always runs back, but it's never quite the same. Well, I think there's something wrong with me.
Got nothing to believe, can't you see it on my face? I was going for the title, got it by your tidal wave. Can't stay in the shallows, please tell me I won't wash away. When it pulls me under, will you make me stronger? Will you be my breath through the deep, deep water? Take me farther, give me one day longer. Will you be my breath through the deep, deep water?
This is our old fire. This is our old flame. This is the reason for this holy war of love and pain. And in this new age, and in this higher space, where I have woken, broken, torn up from the love we made. 'Cause I got no time for it, pulling me hard for it. Baby, I live for you, I die for you. You got me on my knees. Well, I got no time for it, pulling me hard for it. Baby, I live for you, I die for you. You got me on my knees, babe. All this time we fought a war. All this time we fought so long. All this time we fought them all. Got me on my knees, babe. And so I hitch myself to the dark truths that rise up and spear from you. I'm this house on. Since you're running for the hills, I guess by now you know the drill. The type that only shoots to kill, and you only do it for the thrill. The minute that I walk in, you're trying to hold me down, trying to sink your claws in, till I'm face flat on the ground. Don't know what you've been drinking every time you come around, so let me down. If that's the way it's gonna be, leave your shiny yellow key on the doorstep and start burning up your ties and take your coat, I guess. Take the shirt right off my back, I don't mind, 'cause I'm gonna set this house on. If that's the way it's gonna be, leave your shiny yellow key on the doorstep and start burning up your ties and take your coat, I guess. Take the shirt right off my back, I don't mind, 'cause I'm gonna set this house on.
아프리카 TV에는 당신이 아는 것보다 다양한 인종이 살고 있죠. 말 많은 인종, 발 빠른 인종, 잘 먹는 인종, 영리한 인종, 친절한 인종까지. 모든 게 컨텐츠가 되고 누구나 주인공이 되는 세상. 알고 보면 멋진 세상.
Are you free? Africa TV.
So we have 15 players remaining in the round of 16. It's time to throw one to the Lions, Artosis.
Yes, indeed. Patience versus Zest. The winner, of course, has to go up against Solar, which is no easy feat. But what do you think about this PvP in general, Tasis?
You know, I don't feel like I can predict who's going to win. PvP is a pretty complex and dynamic matchup. There's a lot of ways to bluff. There's like so many different ways you can open, and so many different openers and how those openers interact with each other. I will say that Patience looked a little bit better prepared than Zest. I thought Zest had strategies that were good, but maybe not the correct ones to bring out in the round of 16 of the GSL.
Okay.
PvP is a different beast, of course.
Yeah. Well, I look at this, and I would say that, like, if Patience wins, it has to be off build order wins.
Okay.
As far as micro and decisivity, that's a word, right? Decisivity?
Why not? Yeah. Decisiveness?
Or decisiveness. Either one, you know.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
But in both those regards, Zest has the edge. So, yeah, I think that Patience has to get a little bit lucky to take this one home.
All right, our game's loaded up. Patience versus Zest. The loser is knocked out of the GSL Codex.
Dead Pixels. Patience.
You know, I actually really like what you said back there, because I think Patience, right, he has better builds prep, but he did have some misplays there as far as control. I think Zest's control is pretty clean. His strategy was a little bit off.
Yeah. Zest.
It's but you know, I can see possible ways that Zest can die here, right? Like, sometimes he makes a few too many dark shrines in a series and stuff, or, you know, there's some very sharp builds and build order counters that can happen in PvP. You can kind of get around them a little bit, but look at that. Checks behind his natural. I love it. Looking for that possible cannon rush. Not going to happen, though.
Thanks for coming down, buddy. Hope you're enjoying the games. 2 thumbs up.
Well, if he had 1 thumb up.
If he was Goro from Mortal Kombat, it'd be 4 thumbs up.
For sure.
If it was Ninja Turtle, he'd just have all his fingers up because they only have thumbs, right?
Wow, yeah. Oh, his toes as well. I got toe thumbs, too.
So, yeah, let's see how the openers, you know, start out and then how they're going to be interacting with each other. And the probe is now going to come up here for Patience to get the first read on what Zest is up to.
Yeah, nothing to see quite yet here. Wow. Patience actually with a pretty commanding lead over Zest. Look at that. That's not what I was expecting to see. 17-8.
Yeah, I had thought it was going to be much closer, but I don't know if that bodes too well here for Zest.
Well, Zest has been in a little bit of a slump in the recent past.
There was a period where when Zest approached Protoss, he was able to do it in a way that nobody else could.
Yeah. He put the Protoss metagame so far ahead when Legacy of the Void came out right at first.
Yeah. Okay, our 2 Stalkers come out now to chase away that probe. There will be 2 Stalkers made behind that. We have a Twilight Council coming down now for Patience.
Third gate here for Zest. Okay. So he's going to be pushing very hard, very quickly.
Yeah, Zest wanting to assert himself out here. Patience is still teching up.
Will we see Dark Shrine or Blink is the big question.
Yeah.
Because both of them can beat this. Let's see what it is. Come on.
It's funny because, it's a Nexus. Still waiting.
So it should probably be Blink behind that, right?
I would imagine if you went DTs, you would just get rolled by this. But here it is, Blink.
Yeah. Okay, so
now the stalker positioning up here for Patience is super important.
Yeah.
Because you need to preempt the movement of the other player. But
very, very
Blink
true.
doesn't come right away. So
now, and in fact, there will be more stalkers for Zest, no matter what, right? And that is a big, big part of this. Okay, catches that probe, but that's not a big deal. He already has his proxy pylon. Uh-oh. This is where Zest can actually just really get this screwed up.
Patience.
Okay, it's 4 versus 4.
Okay. But the next warping round, one stalker down. The volley advantage is here for Patience.
It is indeed. That is a big deal as well.
Yeah. So much of this is about who fires the first volleys.
So Patience actually outdoes Zest there, but with 4 more stalkers coming up, all that money that he spent elsewhere is actually a problem. He has to run up his ramp. He's definitely going to lose this expansion.
There's nothing to block this here.
Oh, God.
He actually just guns that down.
Oh,
Zest
my God.
snipes that stalker. You can really see this is muscle, pure muscle over, a tech choice. Takes out a pylon. That's not going to supply block Patience just yet.
Now, none of this means that Zest straight up wins this game. He's definitely got an advantage right now, but like the Sentry was a great call. You can kill off these 2 stalkers, for instance, losing nothing. Zest has to be very careful at continued push. Oh, that was definitely a bit of a miscontrol there. And right now, Zest is getting a Robo, so that's going to be a great counter to what Patience has,
and
but
Patience
Blink is strong.
For DT.
We're going to see him try to be SOS, I think, from here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not SOS, so it seems hard to make it work, but we'll see.
I do like that pylon block there.
I love this Adept just giving vision all the time.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool way to approach this.
Yeah. Okay, Blink is done.
You ever wonder if Patience had not put the pylon there, if the DT rush would be even more effective? Maybe it would have baited him into making a Nexus, and or do you think the Robo is an inevitability with this build? Do you see what I'm saying? Because you're trying to limit his options, but then you're maybe making it a higher probability that he'll go for an option that has a direct response to DTs.
Well, I think that the Robo is just very, very solid overall as a follow-up to something like this 3-gate, right? Like it makes you safe because if you play 3-gate, you're probably going to get the Nexus or at least slow it down. And then the only real ways your opponent is going to win is stuff like a Blink attack or DTs, that type of thing.
Okay. Now this Stalker Warping is pretty cute.
Yeah, he might actually need to use a recall or something here. I don't know. No, it seems like he does have that Warping available. So using the shield battery, doing a pretty good job here on the defense.
Not bad, though. Doing a lot of damage over here. Can he get this pylon before he leaves? I think he just barely can. Oh.
Or just barely, not 1 hit point, literally. Oh, wow, he gets these stalkers now as well.
It was not worth. Okay, so the DT's out. Now, we do have an observer here. Good thing Patience turned around. Now, there's a second proxied pylon in the top center here for Patience.
He did make a second observer, so still going to have that. There's so many units right now for Zest that even though he doesn't have Blink against Patience's Blink, I could see him just walking up and killing him. 15 stalkers against 6. Yeah, how do you stop that? Force field is a good start at least.
Yeah, the Warp Prism has so much of its own assistance here as far as control. Okay, 1 DT actually baiting out a little warp in the back. Okay, so with that big berth being created there, Zest is going to try to push in. Now, keep in mind, Zest does now have an expansion of his own.
Yeah, this is very tough. A full Blink over from Patience. You can see where that micro might be a little bit off from him. I guess he's trying to get the damage done to those stalkers up there.
Might be a little bit wiggly here.
Look, he's trying to commit on the Prism. Can't even do it. He has to go back up his ramp once again. But Zest doesn't have an expansion as well. So if you actually look at this, it's kind of funny, right? Because Zest definitely has a big advantage.
Is he going to try to bury this up? He can keep...
Well, he can play like this all day.
Yeah.
But... like the one thing I think that is important to mention, right? Patience has Blink and he has Sentries, and these are like long-term quality things that can gain value. Whereas what Zest has is just a Warp Prism in a lot of units. So it's like, yeah, Zest should be able to win this from here, but there's a chance for Patience. It's definitely smart for him to not leave the game yet.
Okay, another unload down here.
Man, look at the cost efficiency there.
So
It's insane.
crazy.
It's killed 2 Nexuses.
So Patience is trying to sandbag this push in here. Keep in mind the gateways are disappearing here at the entrance, which is actually reducing production even more.
He needs to step forward and get that prism, but it's at such a range, you're going to lose 2-3 Stalkers doing it, I think.
Okay, here comes
it's
that DT.
perfectly placed.
Problem is, these sentries, they buy time. They get the force fields up, but they can't help with the Stalkers, really.
Yeah, I would like to see a Guardian Shield and engage a little bit more, right? Start to get some kills.
So the DT, confirmation that Zest has no expansion.
Yeah, that gives you hope once again as well.
And this big army, though, down here.
Oh, an Immortal.
Wow.
The game changer.
Okay, no force field. There it is. And, of course, he can juggle those back out. So he's eventually going to run out of force fields until he makes another one of these. It's 2 gates for Patience.
They're both running out of minerals in their mains.
Yeah, that's actually quite true.
Such a funny game.
Ooh, actually trying to go for this Immortal. Maybe an unwise decision there.
Yeah, I think you can't actually fully engage here without the Guardian Shield. It doesn't make sense. Oh, okay. Picking off a unit. Still poking.
Keep in mind, if the cybernetic score is taken out, that's another thing that has to be remade.
By the way, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's,
that's true.
I know we might not be thinking about it, but
yeah.
you know, this is something, especially on one base when you're going to run out of minerals eventually. This actually could be a real factor.
He beat you to it. He's actually already remaking it.
How funny.
Yeah, he already remade it, so he has 2 cybernetic score, just in case he needs those air upgrades.
It seems like Zest is basically exhausting all the force fields out. And then he's just going to expand and go home. Now, we saw SOS do this, and I can't remember what game we casted where he did this, where he just blinked out and sent his Stalkers across. But Zest seems to already have a read on this.
Yeah.
He's going to have security back at home.
Well, they're both seriously running out of minerals at this point, so definitely something that needs to be done. God, there's just a lot of Stalkers for Zest.
And he's eventually going to have Blink. That's coming. I feel like Zest is starting to put the last few pieces in here to solve this puzzle.
Oh, they have the same amount of Stalkers right now, though.
Oh,
and
do
with
they
Blink
really?
against no Blink,
Yeah,
you got 3 Immortals, though.
Yeah, the Immortals don't care.
If the Sentries can force back the Immortals for long enough, Blink does give you a pretty big advantage in like the same amounts of Stalkers against each other.
Wait, did Zest Nexus finish, right?
Yeah, it finished
He's mining
just now.
from that now.
Yeah. Ooh.
Not much
that
left
could kill
over
every
here.
probe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how serious that is that you have to recall.
Notice he just commits with this. He's saying every probe I get is going to make this worthwhile.
He just attack his own cybernetic score again?
I thought he did. I actually didn't want to say anything in case I crazy, but look at this. He can do a slow drip of adepts into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
The Patience's base, and there's just not a lot. Patience has to react to this. Every probe is precious.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a recall anymore. So he has to just walk back, do some blinks.
Damn, this is really impressive stuff here from Zest.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful. Don't want to lose that warp prism.
Oh, man. Here it comes again.
You know, he's just not checking in that spot.
Yeah. The probe almost saw it, too. It might have even caught it in its vision. I think he thought there was a pylon.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, that's...
Well, from here, I believe Patience should just run into a brick wall.
Yeah, Patience
of Immortals.
seems extremely dead.
I feel like even with the very best Blinks...
Well, Blink is almost done here for Zest.
Oh, good point there, too. He's down to 6 probes to the 33 of Zest.
Oh, God. He's so dead. Look how dead he is. The force fields have to be the most amazing thing ever done. Oh, there's a prism.
Okay, not bad. He's still juggling these Immortals out. And there's a bunch of Stalkers trying to tickle down that one Immortal. It does not work. And we see a blink in right underneath the Warp Prism. GG.
Wow.
Zest wins game 1.
That was a wild, wild game.
It was cool.
Yeah. Zest with that 3 gates and just a good follow-up overall. His micro with the Prism was amazing. Just keeping that pressure on, eliminating the gates, forcing extra buildings out of Patience. Because once your blink finishes, sometimes you have so many Stalkers and you're just in a good spot because your opponent doesn't have those upgrades. But Zest, I mean, that Prism, it was just greatly done. Really showing off his micro.
Really cool stuff by Zest. I mean, just bulldozing that that expansion up the ramp. You can see it's Patience trying to hang on. Zest very, very slowly getting blinked. He has everything else to counter the Stalkers from Patience. Patience too little, too late. Never the right units at the right time. And by the way, Zest's volley tempo with the Stalkers versus the Stalkers at Patience was huge.
Yeah.
He got a lot of momentum there.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I mean, there wasn't much that could be done. We're going to Acid Plant for game number 2.
Dead Pixels. Patience. Zest.
You know, it's always interesting to look at the layout of a group, right? Like, for instance, Patience has a very good close series with Maru. And then might get wrecked by Zest here, right? Zest gets wrecked by Solar. Maybe Solar cleans up at the end because Maru wrecked him. But if you rearrange this group, you know, you might actually have Maru being eliminated and like Solar Zest getting out, something like that, right? Because if Patience does so well against Maru, you know, Zest is very good at PvT as well, so maybe he wins there. And
again, hit a mum from Australia.
Is he moving his seat around, getting multiple shots?
Could be multiple Australians with multiple mums.
Yeah, that's true. I heard that most Australians actually have mums.
It's true.
But anyways, interesting group the way that's working out so far.
Yeah, I'm wondering how what is it? Solar Patience would look here.
Well, Solar had some good plays against Scarlet. It was a pretty close contested series. Felt like Scarlet wasn't playing her absolute best that day. But I don't know. Certainly Zest did not put up the greatest of fights. Some missteps. I guess we just have to wait and see who wins this. Do we get to see that Patience versus Solar match? I think it's unlikely. Especially after watching that game. Like, Zest very on top of things.
Man. We got the Robo coming down now. Sentry Adept coming out here for Patience.
Yeah,
Again, PvP, it's so important that you have as many builds as possible and trying to use each game to get a read on how your opponent reacts and plays. Like, we saw Patience kind of overblinking there.
Yeah, he's not the greatest with blink.
There's not a lot of moments where you want to blink on top of something all at once.
Yeah.
And sometimes not even, you don't want to blink everything away all at once, unless you either have a commanding lead and you want to just blink on top of stuff because everything's going to get shot down, or you're really, really, really behind. And even though Zest had more Stalkers, or points of Patience seemed to just blink so far out so quickly, he wasn't utilizing anything there. And then Zest just gains more dominance.
Now, should point out that it looks here like there is a big build order advantage for Zest. He's gone Robo before his Nexus. Wow, that's actually a really important kill right there.
Yeah.
And specifically because when you go Robo before Nexus, it means that you'll be doing an Immortal Sentry Stalker push.
Right.
And it really can just wreck your opponent, right? When your defense is mostly like, what, a Sentry or two, some Stalkers. If you have a Prism and an Immortal in your own Sentries and you're attacking in, it is very easy to bust people with that. And especially considering he's going into Twilight Tech, but it's actually DT Tech. And you'd think, well, maybe that'll work out fine for him, fine for Zest, right? But you can't guarantee he's going to make an Observer right away with this. Oh, okay. Actually, he already saw. Never mind. Well, I would say that he probably, considering he saw the Twilight, probably will just make one and send it. Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty bad for Patience. But maybe he can counterattack with a DT. You can't have an Observer in both spots right away.
That is true. An Observer doesn't directly counter a DT. It has to be there and be ready to spot it.
Yeah.
But there's a second Observer being made, so now I think we could say that the DT should.
Yeah.
not work as well. Usually if you're going to get the second one, you know that the second one is going to be there to spot for the counter DT.
And Patience is actually getting immortal quickly, so if he was like going for Blink or something, this would probably be a direct kill, but as is, this is actually going all right.
Okay, the observer's over here. And so this DT goes down. There's not much you can do with the DT after it's been spotted in StarCraft 2.
Just the amount of time it bought Patience really makes it worth it. And he got 6 probes. Yeah, I don't think he dies here.
Okay,
he just has a micro well.
Force field going down. Did not block the Immortal out.
Ugh. Zest doing very well with his micro so far here.
Look at that. 6 probes killed over there. Oh, man. Oh, man!
That's
nicely done. Now, it's hard to reinforce with this. Oh, he's going to just do a little Immortal drop here and try to get a few more workers here.
Yeah, shield battery going to save most of that. Ooh.
Wow, really nicely done here by Zest. You know, one point you did make, Artosis, is that I think Patience has cool strategies, but Zest really does have better control. Like these little mini situations, like that attack there, he just knows where to go.
Patience is really not known for his micro. In fact, there's been many situations where his lack of micro has cost him games.
He's a barbarian.
He's a barbarian.
Okay. He has blunt attacks that do a lot of damage. He doesn't have a lot of armor.
It's a good way to look at him, I would say. Looks like Harry Potter with the glasses, but don't let that fool you.
Yeah, he fights with a club with spikes on it.
Yeah, basically. Brute force attacks, no doubt.
A lot of speed.
Huh.
Okay, hold up here. Let's see where this takes the game. All right.
Not a bad idea from Patience to do this. When your opponent does something like the Robo Opener, they don't have Blink, they don't have Phoenixes or anything, so Warp Prism harassment can be good. Zest, though, in position for that. Is he just recalling it? Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting, stalking the Warp Prism there with his own Warp Prism. I guess he knows that if he has 2 Immortals on the ground, it's not likely that Patience can fire up at the Warp Prism of Zest. And then maybe there's a moment where he can warp in, Zest in his own Stalkers and start trying to hit that.
And if you lose that Prism, you are in terrible shape at that point.
By the way, a 6 Gateway Explosion here for Zest. One of them just finished.
Yeah, his Glaives are going to finish as well. Kind of an old school way to play here, getting Glaives. With this many units, he might be able to just shade right on top. This is a very tricky thing to actually end up holding as well. You got to make sure that you're walling correctly. If there's a Prism, the warp-ins into the main base can be really deadly, especially someone like Zest that's very good at multitasking. This is going to be hard for Patience to defend.
Patience drops the Immortals, trying to buy time. Now they can get pylons pretty quickly.
Yeah, they really can. This is a solid pickoff.
Okay, and that actually...
oh, God.
Oh, hold up.
That's a lot of units.
What are we talking about? All right, GG.
All right.
And Zest marches over Patience.
Slains it. Well, what can you say? I liked what Patience was doing early on with the DTs and all that, but just kind of not ready at all for that attack by Zest, even though I felt like a lot of the things he did there were pretty smart, pretty well done. Hey, he made it to the round of 16 in the hardest GSL to date, so congrats to him there.
He held his own against Maru.
Yeah.
I think Zest just has a little bit more depth in his openings here for PvP. It's hard if you're against somebody with good PvP openings to ever really last on like 3 or 4 bases. We're going to that break now, and coming up next is our final match, Solar versus Zest.
But we always work things out. Always work things out. And all my doubts and fears keep me wondering, if I'd always be in love. Oh. over. So many years we've tried and kept our love alive. 'Cause maybe it ain't over till it's over.
Can I just turn back the clock? Forgive my sins. I just wanna roll my sleeves up and start again. I know that I messed it up time and time again, but I just wanna roll my sleeves up and start again. I was switching up the lanes, stepping out the frame I'm in. I was pulling on the reins, sick of all the same happening. That's right, I was looking for disaster mixed with a bottle of gin. And just because I come home after doesn't mean you'll take me in. You see, my world is spinning like there's nothing below. You see, my world is feeling like it just might explode. And yes, I know it's hard to take it backwards for my mind. I need to get it right, need to see some light come in. Can I just turn back the clock? Forgive my sins. I just wanna roll my sleeves up and start again. I know that I messed it up time and time again. I just wanna roll my sleeves up and start again.
Feeling like maybe I'm unappreciated, like my presence in your life has been alleviated. I feel like everything I've done before is different now, but I can see clearer than ever from a distance now. Every day I do it, I've been going through it, but you never knew it 'cause I never showed you. You gave me the world, so I feel I owed you. I've been looking through the mirror, that's the old you. I'ma get it right now, don't know how, but I promise that we're gonna make it somehow. I'm all in, it's from the heart again. Open up your mind and maybe we can start again.
Can I just turn back the clock and forgive my sins? I just wanna roll my sleeves up and start again. I know that I messed it up.
They are, the better they taste. Oh, my cravings come at night. This ain't love, it's sacrifice. Oh, my God, I can't behave. Worse they are, the better they taste. Got a big appetite. If I look, then I touch, then it's already over. Wish I could just take a bite. So I do, I don't think I can sink any lower. Every tomorrow I'll wake up and pray I won't be caught in your sugar. You're sour, you're salty, you're sweet. I'm starving, so give it to me. And the worse they are, the better they'll be. Oh, my cravings come at night. This ain't love, it's sacrifice. Oh, my God, I can't behave. Worse they are, the better they taste. Wonder if I couldn't hurt, right? I'ma get what I deserve, right? I'm done with playing it safe. You know the worse they are, the better they taste. Oh, my cravings come at night. This ain't love, it's sacrifice. Oh, my God, I can't behave. Worse they are, the better they taste.
아프리카 TV에는 당신이 아는 것보다 다양한 인종이 살고 있죠. 말 많은 인종, 발 빠른 인종, 잘 먹는 인종, 영리한 인종, 친절한 인종까지. 모든 게 컨텐츠가 되고 누구나 주인공이 되는 세상. 알고 보면 멋진 세상.
Are you free? Africa TV.
Overgrowth.
We're back, and it's time for the final best of three, Solar versus Zest.
Yeah, you know, that first match today was really good, and then everything has been a little bit more one-sided so far. I'm hoping that Zest can learn from that first series, and to be honest, I think he can. I think he can discard that first build he used, the charge into later DT, and I think that we can see a better series here out of Zest.
I'm hoping so. Again, we just thought that the build order picks, I think they are intelligent. I don't think they were the right strats to do against the opponent he was against. And, you know, the current date that we're at, I mean, we need to have the most modern stuff. And especially with that DT opener, I mean, that's one where the Zerk shuts it down. The Zerk takes the reins for the game.
Yeah.
And it was pretty easy. We will have one of our new maps, Streamcatcher, in Game 2. No matter what. Not even if we go there. There's no way around it in a best of three. I'm going to blow your minds. You've got to get to Game 2.
What if Solar makes so many banelings that it doesn't have splash damage that Zest has already lost?
There's always that.
Splice. Solar. Zest.
Okay. What you said you didn't really care for the way he was opening. Is there a particular way you'd like to see him open against Solar? I know you like the Phoenix build, and he lost that in the late game.
The Phoenix build I thought was a little bit better. So here's what's weird about the build that Zest did. So it is a modern build, but it's too known now. And I think it blindsided a lot of players. Oh, from Manila. Thanks for coming down. We did some StarCraft at Manila a long time ago. Great place.
Yeah.
I think it's too well known. You know when something gets a little bit too trendy, or you see it one too many times in a big televised match like this?
Okay.
And I think a lot of that build is hinged on really tripping them up for about 20 seconds. And then, you know, not able to deal, you know, if you're not ready for the DTs when they come in because you devoted too much attention to your third base, ready to defend there. The DTs can kill a hatchery or, you know, just so many drones. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, right? And from there, you've leveraged your position. But, you know, Solar seemed like he was aware that that was a possibility. Granted, there are other builds that Zest could have done. Solar had basically taken note, okay, you know, there's 4 or 5 things that could come when I see this initial warp in his Zealots. He had that one ready. he shut it down, and I think it just put Zest in a bad position. And that was the first game we saw from Zest here today. Now, obviously, this is why we put the round of 16 in a group like this, because we don't want these guys to have one strategy is what their entire career is hinged on, right? You need to have, especially in StarCraft 2, a big toolkit on all these different maps and all these different matchups, and you got to be able to deliver. And so I'm hoping to see something a little bit different this time around.
Okay. Well, we'll see where he goes. I mean, this is pretty standard so far, what he's showing us. See if he goes Phoenix first or Oracle first. That doesn't really tell us too much. But Zest has definitely in the past been a big fan of light Oracle harassment into things like Charge plus Archon. That's kind of was his linchpin for a bit. Okay, he opens with a Phoenix. Obviously, when he did this previously, he did go into 2 Stargate Phoenix a little bit later. And it could be that again. We'll see. There's a lot of things you can do from here. You can go into a Charge lot all in. You can just go into Oracle and play very normally from there. So he's making that Oracle. If the Oracle doesn't show up at the Zerg base, that's when they're like, oh, what's going on? Interesting as well that Solar really focuses on getting the Overlord into the main base. It's a small thing, but some Zergs, when they're dying to a Phoenix, really prefer to check if the gases are being taken at the natural, and he doesn't check that here.
By the way, he should have gotten vision of that Stargate and seen the Oracles coming. And there's a second Stargate.
Okay. And, hey, to be fair, it felt like he was at a slight advantage, or at least even against Solar with this build previously.
Right.
So I'm not upset to see this build again. That's for sure.
I think this is smart, and the fact that Solar tried to scout and get confirmation this wasn't happening, and then Zest does just a later version of it. You know, you don't just need momentum with this. You need surprise. And so to come out later on with the Phoenixes may really throw Solar off. And I mean, you know, to what you were saying, Artos, Zest did a really good job with those Phoenixes. It didn't seem like it was as natural here. And look at this. This is so great. He's banking the Phoenixes.
Yeah, this is like how he did it last time as well. He banked them for quite a bit. Came out with a strong number, started being able to pick off quite a bit as well. So far as harassment, not really doing too much, but the build is basically exactly the same to where we saw it last time. So, you know, the thing is, a lot of times a great player like Zest will make builds look the same.
Yeah.
Will Solar kind of pick up on this? We'll see.
There is a lack of, you know, there's not a ton of ground units coming in when you're doing a build like this. You're kind of looking for something, right? The lack of anything being there can very subtly telegraph, you know, what's coming here.
Absolutely. Solar's actually going for the same build as well, it seems. He's making roaches, going up to the layer, all in very similar times that we saw previously. He made, what, 11 roaches last time? Let's see if that's going to be the case again.
Again, I'm getting a little bit worried, even though these Phoenixes haven't been spotted, there's just not much here, right? Nothing's really warping. And I mean, even if you don't know that it's Phoenixes, okay, he might now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he saw that or not.
Yeah, that was a very temporary blip on the map.
3 Overseers. Well, that's certainly not the counter to this build.
Okay, so it seems like Solar might have not reacted in the ideal direction.
Oh, he's going to send those around the map and goop something for sure, right?
Oh, well, maybe. I mean, what else are you going to use them for?
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to get in there and try to goop the double robo follow-up.
Okay. That would make sense, I guess. It's kind of interesting to me, though, because... won't the Phoenixes just go back and... Or maybe you're going to go... Yeah, I mean, gooping the robos can be good, for sure. Maybe if you find a Templar Archives, you goop Storm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess you goop the robos once, though. I mean, what, is there some kind of magic timing from there? Now, this might be, you know, his build gave him lemons, so he's trying to make lemonade. And it's not ideal, but he doesn't have any utility for these. He spent money. He wants to get value out of it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's sort of what's happening here. God, that's a lot of Phoenixes.
It's a serious amount. But so far, Solar has actually defended very well. He hasn't sent, like, let's remember the things that happened in the previous time, right? He sent 11 roaches across the map, which got picked off. Zest got more drones last time, similar amount of Overlords. Maybe he's getting a little bit more Overlords this time, but, like, he also picked off a bunch of Hydras as they were popping out. We haven't seen that happen yet.
Yeah, he's getting He's keeping Zerg honest. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Here come those Overseers, by the way. They're headed southbound.
Are they? Or maybe it's just one?
Wait. It's, yeah, no, I think he's going to one by one it. Something's going there. There it is. They drew straws. He's like, all right,
well,
I guess I die first to Phoenixes.
What do you goop? If it's one, you're not sending your Phoenixes home. Maybe one Phoenix you could send home to get it.
He's like,
He's like, there's
so many choices.
It's like, you're really not going splash damage?
What a awkward game here that Solar's having to play. Okay, he's just going to sit there.
The actual army is going to be really good for Zest.
Well, yeah, especially with these Immortals coming out. I'm really kind of thrown off by what's happening in the Solar game. Maybe he was hoping that goop or no goop. I mean, I guess he was hoping that he could try to pull this back. All right, I mean, I guess that's something.
Well, he did get the Phoenixes to come home, and now he can go goop. I guess this is an endless goop now, right?
Yeah.
The Phoenixes went home, and like you go down, you goop it again, and the Phoenixes come home again.
And I'm one of the Gooper Troopers, man.
Gooper Troopers.
Yeah.
More like the Goober Troopers so far, man. They haven't really done very much,
have they? Much. Everybody's played a game that's like this. You're like, this isn't going well, but I'm trying to make it work.
Yeah.
So
you're like, I had this idea, and it was so cool in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it ends up being great. Delaying +1 isn't bad.
No, it's not bad. I don't know if it's actually going to be delayed. I think it's going to finish.
Oh, he's delayed charge a little bit.
Okay. Well,
charge is still going to finish, but Phoenixes are still getting something done.
I mean, you do need a pretty incredible amount of Hydras to really respond to the threat of the Phoenixes.
I'm very interested in this gooping strategy. Like, I need to.
I don't actually think this is as much of a strategy as it is. He reacted incorrectly, and he's trying to.
But he made 3 Overseers at once when he already had spores. That can't be anti-DT.
Well, the
That's
thing
too
is,
many.
It's weird because like now charge is done, so +1 got done, albeit late, but there was no timing attack. Charge got done. I don't think it stopped Protoss from really doing anything, right? The last Overseer goes in.
But he made these before he knew it was Phoenixes. So maybe this is much better against something else. Like you just slow down splash damage.
Okay.
And he's like, well, I'm not sure what to do with it now. Yeah, that has to be it. Right?
Well, I mean, maybe you're right. I mean, I guess the answer is we're not going to find out in this game, but this looks really weird, right?
It's weird because Solar is good at using things other people don't use. He really is. He's like probably the best Zerg at
He did it with Lingbane early on. There was a period where he was doing it with Niduses every week. He's had a lot of phases where he just sort of sees something that, I guess the rest of the world can't see. I mean, that's kind of one of his great contributions to StarCraft. But
I certainly don't see what this is.
No.
But I'm considering obviously you don't want to do this against Mass Phoenix. I think it has to do with that. So you're just like, this isn't the strat it was meant for.
Maybe he didn't actually go look for the double robos, and that was the problem as well here. So the angling is a little bit tricky here for Protoss, but with the Archon's able to squish the force fields after they basically held off the Hydras and Banes. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. Immortal's way in the front here. This is, I'm not sure if that was intentional. Big pickups here by the Phoenixes. It looks like the army on the right was cleaned up for Zest, so the rest of Solar's army is going to come down here. Again, Archons and the Immortals are what are going to be dealing the damage along with the Phoenixes. The Zealots are here to try to soak. But there are so many Hydras in the back. But, with this number of Phoenixes, it's kind of hilarious how many Hydras you can eliminate from the fight.
He's going to lose his whole army, though. Unless he gets another big warp in here. Yeah, I guess he will.
I think he can actually do it.
Yeah.
I'm just not used to seeing this many Phoenixes in a fight. GG. Zest wins game 1.
Peculiar game.
That was actually one of the harder things we've had to cast in a little bit.
Well, it was so bizarre seeing the Overseers, right? And they didn't really do much, and then the Phoenixes did a lot, and I mean, Zest definitely executed well and hit that attack, and I don't know. It was a weird game, and I want to withhold judgment on that multiple Overseer thing. I feel like this is something that if your opponent doesn't go Mass Phoenix, right, you maybe endlessly goop Psystorm, right? And if you're endlessly gooping Psystorm, maybe that's how you...
Hydra Bane?
Yeah, well, I guess you opened Roach, so a Roach Hydra attack, that can do well. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If Solar continues to play in this GSL, I'm pretty sure we'll see that Overseer strategy again because that's not like a cheesy thing.
He's got to win this best of 3 now if we're going to see him keep playing. We're going to be on one of our new maps, Dreamcatcher. Let's see if Solar can survive Game 2 versus Zest.
Fight! Splice, Solar.
You know, one thing I do wonder is Zest seems to have done, at least brought his best PBZ games with Phoenixes. Second time he did it was super sneaky. Will he do anything like that again?
Zest.
Because I think the answer is no.
His Phoenix play so far has been pretty solid, pretty good. Like, what's the proper counter to this, do you think?
Well, we see a lot of roaches made early on, right? And I can, I can kind of see like that Phoenixes are not the greatest against roaches until you have so many of them that you can just keep picking them up. But I guess it keeps your drones kind of safe. But maybe, I don't know, faster tech and a Hydra or something like that. I mean, if you're going,
I think it's a very meta build because people are building roach horns all the time now.
But I mean, so do you punt that out of your build order? Is that the play? Because
you can't scout it. The Phoenix kills your Overlord before he makes a second Stargate.
So you'd almost have to have kind of like a blind.
You'd have to
the
blindly not make that because.
But then I think we'd be seeing this more.
Well, which the Phoenix?
The Phoenix stuff more.
Well, Zest is one of the creators of Protoss build orders. Like he creates more Protoss strategies than almost anyone as far as replicable strategies. Not talking SOS crap that you see one time and it will never come back because it was
He's
bad.
like, oh, he just knew this exactly. Yeah. That's going to be on his tombstone. I knew that exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like it's a pretty decent metagame type play because of the Roach Horn being so popular. You know, when everyone was going just like some Lings into Hydralisk Den, that build, while I think it might still have a tiny bit of usage, obviously not nearly as much.
Maybe there's a way to get a lot of Lings early to deny the third. I mean, you're trying to keep them off of you so that you can get your third base up. And the Roaches don't really allow for a third base denial.
Very good point.
So maybe...
Because the old Ling style, you'd have to make more units or have like 1 or 2 Oracles sitting there. And he's bringing back his Oracle to try to help with that. But no one's going for a lot of Speedlings early because everyone's going Roach Horn, because if you don't, these Charge Law all-ins will kill you.
So maybe the answer is if you see the Oracle not attacking at all and you knew it was making, because I think you can scout that, maybe you say, uh-oh, this looks like Phoenix. Normally the Oracle has to poke out. It was maybe telegraphed in the handling of the Oracle in game, that was game 1, game 1, where it stayed back and you say, okay, wait a minute. You normally try to get a few drones.
If you get, the thing is, some people will make just a Phoenix. Some people will make Phoenix into Oracle and then go into like a charge all-in. That's the thing. Like, you can actually go anywhere with Phoenix Oracle. Anywhere.
I'm addressing the tree, assuming there aren't other branches after you get past that initial part.
And I think that's the big
really
problem is that there are a ton of branches.
Yeah. Well, that's what Protoss is sort of hinged on, is trying to utilize these different forks and where you attack it and trying to basically outmaneuver them strategically. Hold on. Okay, so he saw the Oracle.
Do you see this? He's making a
Rabu.
Oh my god, I can't even use my brain right now. We just saw that he's getting an evolution chamber. So he is changing it up, but so is Zest here. Oh my god, I think Zest might do the... oh wait, no, he's got double gas. So this is probably an Archon drop.
Is he mighty?
Okay, and this is... I'm getting chills.
Okay.
So I think he just saw the Robo. Not 100% sure, but anyways...
Well, he did. He sees it right there.
Yeah. Okay, so he did see a Robo, and that's definitely very valuable information. Of course, you don't know exactly what this is going to be, but I think it's just going to be a Archon drop. Now, Archon drop is properly countered by having some Roaches, right? But the Roach opener is bad against the Phoenix opener, so he's forced him into a Ling opener, and he's going for Archon drop against that, which is very good against that. So now we're going to see Solar playing at a strategic disadvantage because Zest has basically primed him with these Phoenix Oracle openers.
Dude, only in StarCraft, man.
Jeez.
That's why this game is so sick, is because so much of what's happening now is based off of the games they already played.
Yeah.
And right now,
this is crazy.
Zest is playing 6-dimensional underwater chess and 5-dimensional Connect 4.
Yeah, and here, to put this in perspective, right, if you're 12 years old right now and watching StarCraft 2 for the first time, think of it this way, right? He was shooting you with a rocket launcher, then he built a 4-story house and killed you out of the 4th story like 3 times in a row, but now he's in the 3rd story.
And then he's doing that one of those dances.
Yeah, and he's doing some sort of dance as well. And he's Thanos.
Also, you're watching StarCraft now instead of Fortnite. You're going to grow up and make a lot of money one day.
Yeah.
All right? You're
welcome.
These are all good signs, okay?
Well, who cares about all that analysis we just did? He's actually doing a Ling
But what
Bane
about
Ling at Buzz.
explosions and Zerglings?
It brings the Archons back. Like Zest, let's see how he ends up holding his probes. That's the most important thing
the
here.
one pylon that's powered over there? That could be a problem later on.
He just needs to save a ton of probes here.
Oh, that was sick.
Okay, 8 probes dead. You know what? Can he save that Nexus? Is it possible? It's so funny because we did so much analysis and then made a joke and missed that there was a Baneling bus coming.
Yeah.
But ooh, that move right there is actually how Solar can win this game.
Stay on target.
Because
stay on target.
Oh my God. That's.
You know, I thought I was going to get more.
Yeah. Well, I guess he wasn't actually fully saturated there anyways. Uh-oh. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. Okay. Backing it up for a moment, right? The Ling Bane attack, it did all right, but Zest isn't dead from that, I don't think. Right? Like, this is a very late
lose
layer.
enough workers. Now, maybe if this Nexus gets sniped down,
he should just make a shield
everybody's been in
battery.
this moment where you're like, oh, I'm just going to go have to kill that Nexus. And then 3 minutes later, after you've spent everything and expand and try to kill it, I think Zest gets his 3rd base up. Zest is not that dramatically down on workers, especially considering like where the matchup is and how they teched. Solar did invest a lot into Zerglings and Banelings.
Yeah.
So things are automatically curbed. Zest can is sort of teching organically towards where he needs to go. This wasn't like he had to completely shift gears. He just had to reposition and defend.
And you know, all these real tech, quote unquote, real tech here from Solar, being this late, like definitely there's some map control that we're watching right now from Zest. He's kind of flying around with these Archons. He's starting to get a bit of damage done. You know, Solar's pretty spread out. He's got to spread his roaches, and now he's obviously, you know, Zest has a complete feel for how Solar is playing from here, making a lot of roaches. Yeah, I don't know. This is a super cool game, though.
Not bad. Transfuses saved that queen. We've got 22 more Lings here. I think Solar's really actually held his own here on this side of the map. We might see Zest try to expand again.
I think we're going to see Solar just do one massive attack coming up. And
so maybe he shouldn't expand then.
We saw this actually against Patience. No, not Patience, I'm sorry. Which Protoss was it against? Anyways.
Was it around a 32?
Around a 32 when Solar was playing, right? Like, he got really far behind. It was against Stats, I think. And then he just went like Ling, Speedbane, some Roaches, some Ravagers, and just was like trying to pummel him, and he actually almost broke him, even though Stats had like a perfect game up to then. I think we're going to see something like that. This style, like this kind of attack that, again, look at the amount of Lings he's making. Yeah, it's coming. It went out of style against Protoss because Protoss was getting Psystorm on time and having enough Archons, but I don't know. Solar almost made it work from a deficit before, so I imagine that's what we're about to see. Otherwise, like, why does he have this many Lings?
No, I think you're correct. Wow, making the Banes right under that. Well, I think that Zest knows what he has to do. I mean, he might still die to it if he doesn't control everything correctly. 24 more Lings. The attack is about to mount here. I don't know if Zest wants to bring those Archons back home or try to abuse his position. You know, Archons against Mass Ling, Baneling is a lot of times what you want to have in the actual fight. But at least he's keeping him honest over here, right? These Lings are having to stay back.
Well, there's a lot of units out right now for Solar, man. Look at that supply, and a lot of that's in Ling Bane. Bane is like the most powerful unit per supply, so like It's funny, right? Because if there's too many roaches, you're like, well, that's not really that much supply. But when it's this many lings and banes, it's pretty frightening. But with Psystorm, with this many shield batteries and Archons,
yeah, the thing is that the banelings and the Zerglings need to do so much damage that things disappear immediately. And if there's enough shield batteries and the heals come down correctly, oh, back off. Those are my rocks.
20 kills.
I'm going to use them for my garden.
Yeah. Don't you touch those rocks. You think they're destructible. They're
private property.
And now
he's going to get 2 carriers, huh?
God, I think that's great. You're playing against, like, roaches? I mean, I've seen a Corrosive Bile hit a carrier, but I don't think I'll see it again today.
And Solar is stuck making links now. He's going to make 12 more links. This is all hinged on one big attack. And I think Zest is aware of that. He's got a nice spread with his army. He's just trying to, you know, like a football player trying to get in front of wherever the army is and have the right deflection. You see how the 2 Archons there? 2 Archons? Are we going to bust that down with all those lings? How many of those lings explode before they do damage?
Yeah. Look at that, a drop Overlord kind of being shown. He does have +2 melee, so if he gets a couple good baneling drops off, you can kill the entire economy of Zest very quickly, one-shotting probes. But, yeah, I mean, this map is so big, and the fact that carriers are already popping out.
Okay, Zealots coming in on both sides. And you know what? It doesn't matter if they really do that much, because where did Solar's money go? You know, it's like he was just collecting VHS tapes, and now the DVD, and right now Zest is tech to like DVD.
There's a lot of people who did that.
Yeah. It's like one day these are going to be worth a lot of money.
Well,
put all his stocks in Blockbuster.
It's going to be another 1,000 years.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know, what Zest is doing tech-wise is further enhancing his stronghold on the bottom right side of the map. We do see a tech up here from Solar. He's not completely stagnant. He's going to go into a greater spire. I don't know what he's going to do with these lings, though.
I love these Archons that are just kind of spread out, by the way. They're just, it's like you can't do any counterattacks with like little ones with Lings or Banes because Archons are so efficient.
It's not just with drops. Just having 1 or 2 Archons out.
Yeah.
It's funny how much that they can really do. And there's a difference in how supplies are being freed up here. Zest is dumping the Zealots out there, hoping to get drones, but really just flaying up supply. Solar's turning some of those lings into banelings, but if they don't connect, then that's gas. It's lost.
Never coming back.
Who's rocks now? Finish what I started with this Nexus.
And the Archons have something to say about
So
that.
he needs to get rid of these lings eventually. He can't just keep, and you can see those are going now into Corruptors. But, you know, it's really awkward for Solar because of what he teched up to. He has no easy way to get rid of his supply. He has to make a connect. Now, I don't think this can actually work because these Archons are just too good.
And hey, look, he's got the Corruptors out here and he's making a lot of them, but the Archon is actually the problem unit right now. The Archons will kill the Corruptors before they can really touch the carriers, and Psystorm and the carriers clean up everything else.
And I think because of this hiccup in tech where Solar's trying to modernize what he has as far as his army goes, it's given Zest room. It's give Zest, you know, the room that you know, when you're playing against a computer and you're still learning the game and you're in the lowest difficulty level and you're like, well, I'm just going to make the best stuff. This is what you have now, right? And I don't believe he's going to be able to push through because even though there's a lot of carriers, the Archons can actually gun them down.
You know what? This is actually the moment of the game right now. Those Archons took a lot of damage in that, but they didn't die.
Dude,
if they had, if the Archons had died, the Corruptors would have killed the rest of the air here. He needs to kill off the rest of the Archons. I don't know what health they're at, but God, they do regenerate very quickly.
We're not quite getting a glimpse of that. Okay. Oh man, the storm on some of those Banes. Okay.
It's powerful.
Watch and see what happens underneath this. What?
Whoa!
Wait, who did that?
I don't know.
That was okay. Yeah, that's gonna be GG. There it is. Zest takes game 2 and survives to the final 8.
At the end of the day, Zest comes out of this group. You know, every time I see Zest play a series like that, man, I question, how could anyone ever question this Protoss player? Rogue is going to beat Zest in the finals this season. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
Well, I got to tell you, Zest is really, no pun intended, spice things up for Protoss. He's bringing a completely different style. It's coming right out of left field. I feel for Solar. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's generally good at reacting, but Zest just came.
Dude, he's like the Pavlov toss, too. He's like conditioning Solar to think certain things based on his play. And then like doing things that counter those things that Solar is forced into. It's just some brilliant mind games coming out of Zest. Great build order choices there as well.
Our second player to advance is Zest. You showed quite a different performance. Congratulations.
네, 자, 2연속 8강에 성공했습니다. 먼저 소감 어떠신가요?
2 consecutive quarterfinals. How do you feel?
준비할 때 오늘 너무 손이 마음대로 안
When I played the first map, I didn't feel like my hands are working the way I wanted them to.
느낌이 너무 강했는데.
Anyways, I had a strong feeling that early on I might be eliminated tonight, so I feel quite relieved now.
얼마나 좋아졌을까, 얼마나 보완이 되었을까, 이 점이 포인트였어요. 오늘 저그전 스스로 평가를 하자면 어떠신가요?
일단
how much you've been working on your PVZ? How would you evaluate your performance?
좀 힘들 것 같아가지고 빌드를 짜오긴 했어요.
If I play standard play,
손이 너무 생각한 대로 안
I think Solar's overall quite a strong opponent, so I tried to mix it up a little bit. Again, though, I didn't feel like I was able to do. My hands weren't able to do what my brain was asking them to do.
첫 경기에서 이 우관도 보여주시고 돌진 광종사로도 시작하시고 되게 다양하게
준비하셨던 것 같은데 아쉬움이 클 것
같았거든요. 네, 그 경기의 아쉬움을 뒤로하고 최종전에선 좋은 모습 보여주셨던 것 같습니다. 오늘 이 저그전을 이제 안정감이 그렇다면 좀 줄었다고 보시나요?
And you managed to do a reverse sweep there.
다른 타 종족전에서 보여주는 그런 안정감이 좀 있었다고 보시는지.
Are you satisfied with your overall performance against Zerg compared to your match against Protoss?
네.
더 열심히 해야 될 것 같아요.
Personally, I could feel a lot of disappointment
just
against the Zergs in general.
죽음의
I'm going to have to keep
조에서
working on that.
이기고 올라오는 상대와 만나게 될 텐데요. 이병렬, 어윤수, 백동준,
So you're facing somebody from Group B. There's Sue, Rogue, Innovation, and Deer.
좋은 선수, 싫은 선수.
Do you have anybody you want to face off against? Or could you pick one that you don't want to face? Excuse me, and one that you want to face.
투적은 다 떨어지고 아예 씨가 사라져버렸으면 좋겠어요.
I hope the Zergs get eliminated. And
그래요? 근데 이신영 선수와 백동준 선수는 상관없으세요?
And he says he doesn't care between the other two.
동준이는 제가 좀 후보전하면서 많이 이겨왔던.
You think Deer's a strong Protoss? Are you worried about him?
지난 시즌에 이겨서.
Well, I've beaten Deer several times before in the past.
그렇군요. 이 테란전과
Also, I
프로토스전을
beat
원하고
Innovation
계시는데요.
last season. I'm
지난
pretty confident.
32강은 이 컨디션이 안 좋으셔서 인터뷰로 만나보지 못했었어요. 지금은 이 컨디션에 문제 없으신가요?
네, 그때는 진짜.
Even you advanced to the round of 16 last time. You were pretty sick, so we didn't even have a winner's interview. How's your condition today?
마지막으로 그럼 팬들에게
my condition's pretty
오랜만에
good.
또 마지막 한마디 들려주시기 바랍니다.
Okay, any words to your
경기가
fans?
GSL밖에 없는데 제가 좀 그래도 모습을 최대한
So
자주
far, we've only got
보여드리고
GSL for StarCraft 2
싶어가지고,
tournaments.
올라가고 싶었는데 올라가서 다행이고 8강에서도 꼭 좋은 모습.
I'm going to try to make it as far as I can for all you guys watching.
다시 한번 8강 진출 축하드립니다.
I hope to be meeting more fans at offline matches.
주성욱 선수
So hopefully I'll keep
오늘
pushing
경기
this
최종
ball
경기를
forward.
확인해보겠습니다.
So congratulations again, Zest. There we go.
Yeah.
The guy with the best glasses out of the whole group and the guy who never needed them to begin with.
Indeed.
What does it all mean? Find out in the round of 8.
Yeah.
So that's just day 1 of the round of 16, everybody. That means we have 3 more days left.
Yeah, and they're all going to be pretty wild.
Yes.
I mean, great results tonight. Solar, I think it definitely could have been Zest or Solar coming out of there.
Sure.
And I got to say, the Patience Maru match might have been the best of the night, really.
Hey, man, Patience held his own for sure. So these are our first 2 survivors.
And Saturday, we'll see who they play against in the round of 8.
That's right. We'll have one side of the bracket made up.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
the group of death.
Oh
B
my
as in
God.
death.
Yeah, like the winner of this group plays Zest. Uh-oh. Zest. You're going to have a hard time, buddy. I think Rogue is is the favorite. And, like, I can't imagine Rogue knocking out this group, but this group is insane. That is a deadly group.
And of course, whoever goes on second place up against Maru, that's going to be a great game no matter who it is. Good luck to Deer there. No disrespect. It's just that the other
group is
players in there. I mean, that's pretty insane. I guess that's it. We will be back on Saturday at our normal time, and the ASL finals, StarCraft 1 finals, are going to be on Sunday.
And make sure to watch the Pylon Show tomorrow morning.
That's right. We love you guys. We'll see you next time here at the GSL Codex.
There's a place at the end of the
#2018 GSL Season 2 Overgrowth.